We're going to be reviewing Trump up to the second week so far. So give me a minute, or maybe as much as a couple minutes before we can get the other live streams going. But this is Trump week 2 in review. So I got to get my other streams going. So bear with me for about, I don't know, 100 seconds or so. Just want to make sure everything is copacetic, as they would say. Got to get all the damn hashtags and things like that right. While you guys that are filtering in and waiting for the program to begin, I will say this, in my humble opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, hopefully I'm wrong, but I do believe TikTok is not going to be around much longer, even under Trump. I think they're going to let TikTok go. I got some opinions on why, but certainly the fact that they got you, they preventing folks from monetizing things still right now. So, even the folks that are out here, like, you can't get any subscribers or anything like that. So for folks who are doing this on a monetary basis, it really is gone already. It really is gone already. But I do believe that we are about to lose TikTok. I do believe that. Go back to who said that? Joe Craig says go back to Mexico. Yikes. That's crazy because I don't. If you're talking to me, I don't even speak the language. I have been to Mexico a few times, but I don't speak the language. I don't know a lot about the culture. But then again, I don't think the people talking about deporting everybody gives a damn about that. Just send his ass back and let him figure it out. No humanity there at all. All right, let me go. Let me get the thing going here, and so I can stop talking shit and start talking to you folks. So maybe you can tell me that I'm full of shit. You know how the program works. We always invite dissenting opinion. Shit. Damn. These some of these devices and shit. God damn. I'm trying to get my other YouTube going. That's what's taking me so long to get going here. So I was pointing to all of them too. Okay. What the hell did I just do now? Okay. I got one of my devices is a Samsung and the other is an iPhone, and I don't know shit about the iPhones, and that's what causes this temporary delay. So I'm trying to get the program up on the iPhone, and I don't always know how the system works. And I was about to go on live, and the damn thing turned it off on me. So I got to type this shit in here one more time. So make sure everything is here. Let's see here. Make sure the hashtags and all that crap is right, so that it actually goes by the correct algorithm, and that should be enough for us to get going here. Week 2 though, you guys, for my MAGA viewers, you guys happy? Are you, for the most part, pleased at what you've been seeing from Trump so far? Or do you have some concerns? That's what we're going to be talking about. Literally the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know how that phrase is. Oh, God damn it. I tell you, every time I fucking... Okay, now I'm going to need you guys to hold on for a minute. I don't drop some equipment. Give me a second. Shit. God damn it. Fucking light came down and everything. All right. When you're doing this shit from an amateur level, sometimes the equipment don't want to cooperate, and that's what you're dealing with right now. But my backdrop, my light fell down. That's what you're hearing me screwing around with right now. And okay, got that going. Got that going. Let me bring my ass in here now. All right. What does that say? Why the Kamala photo sticky with white substance? It shouldn't be. That's funny, but I had to purchase non-gloss photos because the photos would look shitty. I got the high gloss stuff. The lights, all of the backdrop lighting and stuff, it's real bad on that. Like, for instance, I went out and certainly wanted to acknowledge Trump every single month. So this is a 16-month calendar on Trump, but once again, the lighting, you can't put all this shit up because you got to get special photos because otherwise the lighting will reflect everything. Anyhow, all right, let's go ahead and begin with the program in three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Had all kinds of equipment failures over here, which took me a little bit longer to get started than I wanted to. Okay, we are talking about week 2 in review, as you may see on the backdrop behind me. We're gonna be talking about the good, the bad, and ugly. Remember the old Clint Eastwood cowboy western? I think that was the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to be talking about things that Trump has done. I mean, he's done a lot. I think they said he's done over 200 executive orders have come by way of Trump. Over 200 executive orders have come by way of Trump since he's been in office. Real quick on YouTube horizontal, let me know if you guys, somebody on YouTube horizontal was saying no sound. Let me know if there's any sound on there. But over 200 executive orders since Trump has been in office. So in only 2 weeks' time, that's a significant amount of movement. Now, a lot of folks are favorable to that. You want a president that's effective, that's getting shit done. Now, we can talk about whether you feel that the shit he's doing is what you wanted him to do. Left, right, different opinion there. We'll talk about that. But we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I want to hear your take in this second week of review. He's now been president for 2 weeks. Feels like about 6 months, right? About 6 months. So we're going to talk about, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but DEI continues to rear its ugly head. I want to know from you folks your opinion of what the hell that means. Now, I've said before, I'm starting to think that it has racial overtones, but I want to hear from you folks. What does DEI mean to you? How does somebody become a DEI hire? And why is it being thrown around so much as of late? I don't remember hearing about DEI. Certainly not much during the Obama administration or George W. Bush. I didn't really hear about it anywhere near as much during the Biden administration. We're hearing about it almost every day now. So I want to hear from you folks. What does DEI mean to you? We'll certainly tackle that. So that is what we're going to be discussing today. Obviously, you know how the show goes. We can always get wild and crazy here because this is a free speech program and we entertain we entertain whatever's on your mind. We certainly entertain that. So if it goes off the rails a little bit, we're all doing it in the name of being entertaining. You know how the program runs. We don't block, ban, or censor any damn body for their commentary. You can be critical of anyone in the comment section, including yours truly. We are indeed MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. MAGA friendly till the very end. So understand that your politics don't mean a thing when it comes to the conversation. You can feel free to state your point here without anyone trying to limit your time or censor you for your opinion. So getting into the program, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What have you seen just so far based on what you've seen from Trump? I'll start taking callers. I'm going to start it out right off the bat. Remember the old high school, grammar school grading system, A, B, C, D, and an F? What grade would you give them so far? Now, I get it's only been 10 days. You can't pull a rabbit out of a damn hat in 10 days. But if you had to give him a letter grade, you got 10 days or so under his belt. What letter grade would you give him so far? Wow. TikTok is not very friendly. Somebody gave him the letter Z as in Z. I don't know what the hell that means, but a lot of poor grades on TikTok. Wow. I do see a few 8+ in there. Now, keep in mind, in F means you can't do no worse. In A+ means you can't do no better. Is there anybody among the crowd that think what Trump has did is so bad he can't do possibly worse than what he's done now? What he's done is so great he can't possibly do anything better? I don't quite understand the A pluses and the Fs. I'm just going to say that. I don't quite understand that. 4 days and he can't do any better or he can't do any worse. That seems to be moving kind of quick to me. Gangster Grandma. That's a hell of a name. Good.
Oh, you remember me, huh?
I remember. Good evening.
I haven't been on in like over a year. I had to take me a break. But oh no. See, did you see how special Mega is? They voted his dumb, special butt back up in here. And they don't think that he's gonna do dropping egg prices and grocery prices. And what has he done? Nothing. He's now in a tariff war.
But what about the argument that he can't do every damn thing in only 10 days?
He ain't gonna do nothing for us. That's why do people can't comprehend. The education system here sucks because 48% of this country is like grade A special ed. Because I don't comprehend this shit. He doesn't do nothing. He only wants it for his billionaires. Elon Musk is his bitch.
Well, don't say that. Well, what about the notion that folks voted Trump back in because they thought Biden sucked?
Biden did suck. Biden did the damn thing. Biden gave everything that people wanted. He did the student loans. He did a lot of his stuff. He kept his word. What has Donald Trump done? The first day, he's going to drop the egg prices. Did he sign an executive order? Hell no. You know what he's doing? He's getting black and brown people out of here. He's doing everything like that. He's kicking the illegals out without due process.
Well, there's a question that folks are passing back and forth, which is, if you are not here legally, do you even have a constitutional right to due process?
They're in the Constitution. If people can read, they have legal rights here. They're in the Constitution. They have due rights.
Yeah, but
Why do you think Obama didn't get no stars back? Why do you think that he didn't? Because he gave them due rights. He gave them the opportunity to go in front of a judge stuff, and then they kicked him out.
I don't know.
They're not doing it here.
I think Trump disagrees with you in regards to what rights.
Oh, well, I don't care what the Triple K thinks about it.
What did you call him?
The Triple K.
You think Trump is part of the Triple K?
Hello?
Based on what?
You know what the new N-word is? DEI. That's the new N-word, DEI.
So when you hear somebody is a DEI hire, what's coming to your mind?
What's coming to mind? I'm not using it as an N-word. They are.
Right. Okay, so if you hear Trump say somebody was a DEI, you think that's synonymous with calling somebody the N-word?
Yes, because that's why he blamed black people for taking down that plane. He said, well, that's common sense. And it was a YT man. And it was his stupid behind that did it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a tough question based on what you've said so far. This is going to be a tough. This may be a tough.
It's not. But answer me.
Okay,
talk to me.
This may be a tough question for you based on your answers up to this point. But give me something good that Trump has done since he's been in office.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell you. Not one thing he has not done. What has he done? What has he done? Pray the guy he took on a Big Mac.
You want the president? Wait a minute. You don't want You're not calling for the demise of the president, are you?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I just hope a Big Mac takes him out.
That's calling for his demise.
No, it's not. It's just praying that the Big Mac will take him out.
Do you?
Hallelujah.
Okay, so if for some reason a Big Mac takes President Trump out after he choked on it, I mean, what would America be like if this guy was lost?
We'll be happy. We'll get our tequila.
Are you telling me? You said you would drink tequila? Really?
Tequila, hallelujah. The devil's gone. The Antichrist.
So I'm just going to make sure, let me know if I'm getting this wrong. I don't want to step on any toes here, but it sounds to me, based on what you're saying, that if for some reason, if Trump's life was lost, you would celebrate. You mentioned tequila.
Hallelujah. I'll be rolling up, getting my greens. Hell yeah. Hallelujah. The Triple K is gone.
You don't respect the office. I
do not respect him. I hate that man because everything he has criticized everybody. He has taken down Obama, saying he is a black man. Then he went after Miss Harris, that she needed to be up in there.
Well, I mean, obviously he's criticized a hell of a lot of his predecessors, but you really think America would be better off if his life was lost?
Hallelujah. Big neck time.
What about him securing the border? Is that not a good thing?
He's not securing the border. Let me comprehend. See, the border has never been open. See, this is what the maggots want you to believe. Shit, there's never been open.
Well,
never been.
So
no, you can't just walk your fat ass across. No, they stop you.
So
it's not open.
So you think the border was being properly secured under Biden?
Yes, it just has something. Shit happens. You know what I mean? It does. And you know what? These are not all these criminals. You know what I mean? They're not all criminals. There is some criminals. I mean, there's criminals in every damn, population.
Right.
He needs to worry about his own damn people. Like the children that's pew-pewing up the damn schools and quit going after us black and brown people that we ain't doing it. And they're going after illegals because, you know why they're going after illegals? Because they are weak. They can't fight back. But you know what, after them, they're going to come after us.
But I'm being told that Trump had a mandate, and this is what the people wanted, though.
The white tea people and the ignorant-ass black and brown people that think they're going to get a PP loan.
Now, let me ask you, now, are you Hispanic? Are you black? Are you white?
I'm Afro-Latina.
Okay, so you're Latina. How do you respond to the fact that Trump actually won the male Latino vote?
They're ignorant. They want to be close to white as they want to be close. They wanted to be close to white. I'm not. I would never sell my soul. I don't want to be white. They want that white. They want to be right next to this whiteness. Thinking they're gonna be like them. They're never gonna be like them. That's how special they are. The Cubans, the Mexicans that voted against their own damn interests. All the Latinas and Latinos. They sorry.
Well, is it possible that they just don't want people coming in here illegally? They want them to come in here the right way?
They don't want their own selves. They don't want their own selves coming in here illegally there, because everybody came in here illegally. This ain't nobody's land but the natives' land, and they're trying to kick their asses out.
What do you mean?
They're questioning their citizenship. Donald Trump is. Go to Google it.
They're questioning the citizenship of Native Americans.
Yes, they are.
I don't know. Has anybody else heard that?
Google it. It's free.
How could you
Google it?
So if a Native American is not a citizen, where the hell are they going to go?
That's what I want to know. Where you going to go to?
I don't know. That seems weird. That doesn't. I don't know. I see a lot of folks in the comments are saying it's true. I need. So
what do you think? Well, now that's why I'm trying to tell the black and brown people that voted for him. You're stupid because they're coming for your ass next. If they're gonna go after the Native Americans, and this is their home. Oh well, they're coming for everybody.
Now, we've been talking, and you've mentioned quite a bit about racism and things like that. Is Trump trying to do, because you make it sound like his sole purpose is racially oriented. Is he trying to do anything else for America?
What do you think he's doing? Come on now.
Securing the border? He's supposed to be bringing down the economy, the price of groceries, the price of gas?
The tariffs going to bring down, the tariffs going to bring down grocery prices? Seriously? He's going to war with our allies, for God's sake.
Well, he is pissing off a few people, but I don't know.
A few people. He wants to take over Greenland. He wants to. He renamed oh my God, for the love of God, he named the damn ocean.
You mean the Gulf of America?
Yeah, it's Gulf of America. Like what kind of special ed type of crap is that?
Well, he said it's ours.
It isn't ours.
No, I don't.
That ocean belongs to that ocean is international waters. See, that's how special these mofos are. But they believe in everything.
So before I gotta move it on, Grady, but I want to ask you this before I let you go. 4 more years. We got 4 years of Trump. Let's just. That's what
I said. I pray to God a big neck takes him out. Because I don't think the United States is going to last for 4 years. He's doing everything He's doing everything. He's doing the Constitution. He's trying to take the birthright citizenship away. He's doing everything against the Constitution and stuff. That's what I said. I said, Jesus, I'm a good Christian. Please give us a big Mac and take him out.
Damn. All right, great Gangster Grandma, living up to your name. Good to have you back on. Appreciate you coming through.
Oh yeah, I miss your little wannabe say you blue all day, but you rocking that damn red one. What kind of shit is that? And look, they don't even like your bald-headed ass, and you're over here still trying to talk to them. I'll be real with you. How can you really talk to a maggot when they're going against everything against you? How can you honestly gotta talk to them?
So what you're saying is, hold on, hang on. So what you're saying is non-MAGA should not speak to MAGA.
We shouldn't. They're going against us.
How do you ever get unity if you don't speak to the other side?
Hey, let me tell you about unity. If they wanted unity, they would have brought that Chester Cheetah mofo head up in there. Had that little orange Jesus that they proclaim. They would have brought that in there. They brought trailer trash up in there, the Triple K, but yeah, let's go come together, just do kumbaya. Fuck that. You're going against me. You're going against my folks.
Gangster Grandma, thank you for coming through. Appreciate it.
You know what I did? I'll tell you one thing. I kicked my old man out. You know what he told me? He said, I'm going to go vote for Miss Harris. I said, oh, you were? You know what I did? I went a little scuba diving. You feel what I'm saying? I went in his phone. You know what he did? He voted for that damn trash. You know what I did? I set his shit on fire. I said, you get the fuck out of my house.
I gotta go. Wow. I can't. You burned the man. Oh, Jesus Christ. I gotta go. Grandma, I gotta go. Oh, my God. So, Jesus Christ. I don't want my guest to be admitted to crimes. I think what she was admitting to was somewhat of a crime. Certainly not a Trump fan there, but that's how the show is running. Yeah! Jay Gar, appreciate the hat and mustache. And I see in the comments someone said this is actually how Trump won. I gotta actually turn up the lighting for my damn device here because I can read the comments as well. But okay, there we go. Look, I get what she said does not fall on deaf ears. She was very critical of me. Before I go back to the box, and by the way, tap the screen, get us up to about 15,000 on the likes. We can certainly make that happen. Tell her the people have spoken. We all got out and voted, and now you're going to have to deal with it. I think there's a lot of validity to that, liberty or death. That you're right. The people spoke. Trump is in there, and you just, regardless of how you feel about him, you're going to have to deal with it. I agree with that. But yeah, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 15,000. I need it to help out the algorithm. You know how the program is ran. It does bring in more MAGA, but liberals are welcome on the program as well. Love thy neighbor. Our fight is not against the flesh and blood. Be Christ-like. Unite. The devil is a liar, says Mary B. Well, your fight is against the flesh as long as you reside in the flesh. Until you have reached eternity, what you do in the flesh is what you have to deal with. So your fight is against in the flesh. Why do you hate people you disagree with? Says it's too deep. There are people like that. I'm not one of them. I do not hate. You couldn't run a show like this if you hated the people you disagreed with. I mean, if I hated the people I disagree with, you would hear me just lobbing insults, not taking their calls, not allowing them to speak. This is not that kind of program. For anybody who's been watching for any length of time, this is not that kind of program. I'll criticize. I'll accept criticism. That's how free speech works. But you don't get the name calling and the hatred here, at least not from the host. And even when some of my guests get a little bit out of hand, I don't talk down to my guests. You know how the program is, right? Yeah, one of the reasons he won is because everybody lied about him. And people are finding out, especially on YouTube, says Melissa Hart. I will say this. He is doing a lot of things he did not campaign on. I watched a lot of Trump rallies. I never heard him talking about taking over Greenland over the last year. This time last year when he was already running for president, we weren't talking about acquiring Greenland. We weren't talking about Canada being a 51st state. We weren't discussing the Panama Canal. he was hinting about tariffs, but not as strong as they are now. So he's done things that he didn't run on. So there is a little bit of difference there. So looking in the and that's going to, I would assume there are some people that voted for Trump that did not know he was going to do this. Certainly with all of the firings, you got to assume a hell of a lot of FBI folks that he fired or he's going after. Some of them folks voted for Trump. There's no way in hell I believe every liberal he fired voted for Kamala Harris. He's firing people that are MAGA. He's fired some Trump supporters. I'm certain of that. Real quick looking in the comments. What about all these plane crashes? I'm just gonna until I see something otherwise, I'm gonna say shit happens. I don't think now I know Trump got on the airways and said something conspiratorial. I'm gonna listen to the NTSB. Those are the folks that are actually trained in what they're doing, got the background, and certainly they take time before they come to a conclusion. Trump's on TV like 18 hours later, blaming it on DEI and all of that. So I'm going back to the box, and we're going to talk about DEI, by the way. In addition to the good, the bad, the ugly, and I ask you guys to tap the screen. Get me on up to 15,000 so I can take this next caller. Y'all can make 15,000 likes happen, right? Tap the screen, show the program some love. It's free. I don't get a whole lot of support on the program, so show your boy some love. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 15,000. We'll continue on. In regards to the plane crashes, like I said, I'm going to go with the experts until I see otherwise, until I see a reason to think otherwise. Not going to get the truth. Things are different. Listen to your gut. My gut ain't telling me anything different about the plane crashes. Not yet. My gut ain't telling me anything. I mean, you know, we have plane crashes occasionally. They're very rare, but we do have them occasionally. Can I get 15,000 so I can take this caller? Tap the screen, get the likes up. DEI has nothing to do with anything. It's TJE incompetence of leadership. What does TJE mean there, baby Tariff? By the way, we're going to talk about, because Trump has already been mentioning DEI quite a bit. What the hell is he talking about? What does DEI mean to you? When you hear somebody say that person's a DEI hire, for instance, what the hell does that mean to you? Going to the box, Jason, I think that says Jason JS. Good evening, says my job, says Beauty. You think DEI means your job? Explain that. Jason, good evening. Jason, you're on mute.
Hey, handsome.
Yeah.
Good to be back on the program.
Good to have you back. DEI, what the hell does that mean to you?
So DEI, what it's supposed to be is kind of giving people who have had a harder chance to get towards inclusion, pretty much, of making sure people have the ability to do things. Well, the problem right now is the fact that, I think it works okay. I know the biggest benefactors of it are white women. So that's kind of interesting.
So you said it works okay. Trump is getting rid of it. Do you think he should keep it? Do you think it should stay around, or you agree with Trump, get rid of it?
Oh, they should definitely get rid of it, 100%.
So how do you think the hiring attitude of this country would be without DEI?
I don't think it changes very much. I think it changes more on the bigger corporations, like a Microsoft, like a Google. They're the ones who kind of have hit these quotas, but for smaller, city companies, won't change much.
So why do you think DEI came around to begin with?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of the same thing with the NFL, how they're forced to at least interview one black coach before they can interview anyone else.
Yeah, but that's not answering the concept. Yeah, but you're talking about now. I'm saying, why do you think DEI even came about to begin with?
Well, I mean, it's more of there are people who are qualified, who are POC, and then it just kind of makes sure that they can at least get in the door.
So what you're saying is POC, people of color. So you're saying people of color before DEI, even if they were qualified, could not get in the door.
In some places, yeah.
Okay. So if you remove DEI, is there any chance we would go back to that system?
Some companies, yes. Others, no.
Okay. So in other words, at least in some places, as you kind of mentioned with corporate America, you still probably do need to have some DEI.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so with Trump getting rid of DEI, then you're kind of admitting that by him doing that, he's going to cost some people of color some opportunities.
Yeah, I would agree.
How should people of color view him for doing that?
I mean, now unfavorably. I mean, most do. Besides Latino men, have we seen in a recent election?
Say that again.
I mean, most people already look down on him for it. The only people who have been supportive of him, of POC, were, Latino men.
Yeah. Well, and does that make sense to you? I guess I would question if you're admitting that by
no,
getting rid of
absolutely not.
huh?
Absolutely not. It makes no sense.
So it makes no sense how he got the Latino vote.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. Did you vote for Trump?
No, absolutely not.
Now you're not Latino. You're not a person of color, right?
I am.
Oh, you are. Okay, that's
I
what
am. Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. That's what I was wondering because I'm thinking like if you're not a person of color, then you would benefit from this.
No, it's you're talking to a black man who went to a lot of Catholic private schools. Okay. So that's the education part of it coming in.
Right. Well, yeah, you definitely don't sound like you used to hang around the mean streets of Detroit nowhere. So, okay. So did you sit this one out or did you go with Kamala?
I went with Kamala.
Okay. What other? Because Trump, he wasn't really talking strongly about DEI. What about Trump outside of DEI led you not to vote for him? I mean, because some folks are saying the border wasn't secure and all of that. Why didn't you vote for Trump?
Biggest one, tariffs. I understand what that means, having a business. So, it makes total sense to me. And I think people don't understand as well with tariffs. If I am an American company and I know my competitors are more expensive than mine, I can raise my price as well.
So you do believe the tariffs are going to be bad for America?
Absolutely.
Why do you think so many Trump supporters, MAGA, think this is a good idea?
Because he said it's a good idea.
That's it?
That's it.
Doesn't matter what's the reality. If he says it's a good idea, therefore it shall be.
Well, there's been plenty of things we've heard from him that he says is truth, and we know it's a lie, and they just still believe it.
Examples?
Well, tariffs is one. DEI for this plane crash as well is another thing he said. And I agree. The plane crash, to me, the one in D.C. was purely human error. Because I listened to the ATC, and they were asking, hey, do you see that plane in front of you? The answer was yes. There were two planes, one to the right, one to the left. One to the left was above them, one to the right was below them. So when
I want to say this. I don't want to say, I mean, it does sound like it's human error, but I want to give the NTSB a chance to do their job. I mean, it's been 2 days, 2-3 days, and people are already summing it up for them already.
No, they'll do their job. They'll take them a couple months to get initial, and then their true deep report, a couple years. But I mean, it makes sense with aviation. I have my private license. Planes, we can't see a lot, especially those big planes like that. You can't see under you. So when you're above someone, you can't see.
Yeah, you feel the vision.
If you're above them, they also can't see. So it's just a perfect storm of issues.
Yeah, and that is true. Your field of vision in both aircraft is exactly like you said. Helicopters can see above and not. Well, helicopters sometimes can see below too. It depends on how the glass is set up. But a Black Hawk, I don't think a Black Hawk can see as clear because I mean they do have a pretty big panel there. But airplanes, you're right. They certainly have a very limited field of view. So I can kind of see where you're going with that. Now, in regards to your statement about tariffs. I think it says Anthony36 in the comments says tariffs have been around since 1789. Every administration has had tariffs. So he's suggesting that, look, what Trump is doing is only normal. What say you?
So tariffs are a great tool to use in limited capacity. When you do a blanket tariff, that's where it causes problems.
Well, he didn't do it. What do you mean on every product? In other words,
yeah. From what I've heard so far, he did a blanket tariff on everything for 25% in Canada and Mexico, besides oil from Canada, which is at 10%.
Yeah, and is that the one the tariffs in China? Are they the same way? Are they blanket as well?
I believe those are blanket, and those are only 10%.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you certainly don't see the price of eggs or the price of goods and services in this country dropping anytime soon.
No, and why would they ever drop? Because once we get used to prices, if I'm a corporation, I know that you're paying for it regardless. I'm keeping the price the same. It only makes sense.
So you don't see where Trump is going to do anything beneficial economic for this country at all.
Nope. I mean, you look at Goldman Sachs and a lot of the guys on Wall Street, they're actually betting against the market to crash.
4 more years. What do you think?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, me and my fiance are actually looking to leave the States and go to Canada.
You actually are considering leaving America?
Yep.
And moving to the 51st state?
That was great. I love that idea because you're going to add 40 million liberals to the country.
Yeah. No, and I said the same thing, that if we made Canada the 51st state, it would be the most powerful state in the union, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and even to break them up, then you're going to have, I can remember how many provinces.
Multiple provinces, yeah, like 7 provinces and territories.
So yes, now you're adding 7 states that are all liberal.
Are all of them that way?
Yeah, for the most part. Like, Bernie Sanders is considered slightly left in Canada.
Wow. I don't know, but you throw the racial dynamic in there. Sometimes people might be okay with social programs and things like that until they find out certain people are qualified for it, and then all of a sudden they change their mind. Canada doesn't have a lot of diversity because there were rumors that in this country, a lot of social programs that we are against today, we used to favor them until minorities had opportunities to get them as well. So Canada could change if they become the 51st state.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, Toronto itself is extremely diverse.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's as I say diverse as Chicago, and you know Chicago. I mean, maybe it could be true. I know some people just don't like it, but I think also too is when you're conditioned to have healthcare where you're not spending $3,000 for an ambulance ride, I think it's hard to go back.
Yeah, I definitely think that once you've gotten universal health care, even if it's poor universal health care, it's still better than nothing at all. So I would agree with you. It would be very difficult, very unfavorable to go in reverse.
Yeah.
So appreciate it. All right, well, I'll go ahead and move it on. I don't think I hear too much outrageous there. Jason, thanks for coming through.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Good talk. All right, moving on with the program. I would like to hear somebody on the other side. I'm just curious. Certainly from a DEI perspective, certainly from the tariffs, but looking in the comments, more conservatives in Canada than y'all believe. And that's what I think that if you start adding, because Canada in the upper territories and all of that, not a lot of diversity up there. I get what he said about Toronto or maybe Vancouver, some of the extremely southern areas, Montreal, but you get up north up there, it's probably all one way of thinking. And if all of a sudden they got to be competing with the thought process of Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York, you might start seeing a lot more folks go further to the right. So I do understand what you're getting at. Real quick in the comments, DEI equals bad black woman America, good white man, Trump, MAGA ain't shit. Wait a minute. Let me read that again. Will says DEI equals bad, black/woman, America equals good, white man /Trump/MAGA. And then, of course, he ends it by saying Trump ain't shit, the signature statement. I've said before in the program myself, generally when you hear the term DEI, it does seem to be a black person orbiting around that conversation. Occasionally it's about a woman, a person of color, somebody who's disabled. But in recent times, it tends to be a person of color, usually a black person. That is what I'm starting to, that's the way my analysis is starting to be on it. But I'm asking, like, for instance, what does it mean to you? And I'd be curious to know, why do you think Trump brought it up in regards to the plane crash? Going back to the box, what does that say? I didn't see what this, something, stay on code, and I don't know what you're saying there. FBA, stay on code and stand on business. Okay, let's buy eastern half of Canada. Okay, tap the screen. Let's do that. Get us on up to 30,000. I would be okay with tariffs if they do away with federal taxes. If not, I'm not down. Well, I think that's kind of the goal, because Trump said if we impose tariffs, it'll make us rich and things like that. But it's almost as if he expects to impose tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada without any kind of recourse. There's going to be responses to that. Little Miyagi, yeah, appreciate the hat mustache. Thank you guys that are supporting the program. Going back to the box, and it is indeed the one and only Little Miyagi. Good evening, welcome to the. Oh, wait a minute, I hit on MAGA Reacts. Good evening, MAGA Reacts.
What's going on?
You the person I would like to talk to. You're MAGA. What the hell does DEI mean to you?
DEI, I see affirmative action, that was about race. DEI has to do way more than race. You have to be not only a different race, but LGBTQ, XYZ. You have to be
can a black man be DEI? Can a black man be DEI?
Honestly, not anymore. I really don't think so, unless he's also gay or lesbian or something, or trans. I don't think it applies to black men anymore.
Okay.
I really think you also have to be gay or something else, or disabled or something.
So why did Trump bring up DEI in relation to this plane crash? And he brought it up a lot.
Well, the air traffic controllers, which a lot of my friends are air traffic controllers, they don't have enough people. And what he's saying is because their hiring is DEI, they limited the pool, and that's why they're having problems recruiting, because they're not hiring white people, and they don't have enough DEI hires to hire. He's saying they can't just hire anybody.
So what you're basically saying is
people.
So what you're basically saying is that the only people they are hiring are DEI candidates.
Yeah, because that's Trump's. I'm not saying that because all my air traffic controller friends are pretty much all white. I don't think they.
So he might be lying.
Never mind. No, I take that back. They're not white. Sorry, they look white, but one of them is Spanish and one of them. It's Miami. It's hard to tell who's white and who's multicultural and everything.
Yeah, but you basically.
Now that I think about it, they're not white.
Yeah, but you gave me your definition. You have to be LGBT and all this stuff. You're telling me the entire ATC is nothing but that? Gay people and women and all, there's no straight white males working for air traffic control?
Again, I just know my little corner of it, and they're pretty diverse down here in Miami, but everything's diverse in Miami. But I don't know how DC is, but I'm just telling you what Trump is saying. I don't agree with it. I don't have enough details to agree with it or not agree with it. I'm just saying.
I get that you don't have enough details, neither do I, but I'm gonna ask you a similar question. Do you believe what he's saying is true?
I don't know. I mean, the ATC, they're saying they're shorthanded. And if they were limiting how many people, if they were limiting who they hired using DEI, that would explain it, but I don't think it's true. I think he's just, just rhetoric.
Yeah, but people are dead.
It's probably partially true. It's probably partially true. They probably could have had a lot more people if they didn't really care about DEI and just hired whoever's qualified. I think they would have had a lot more people. I mean, it has to be true because if you're limiting who you're hiring in any way, even if the limitation wasn't DEI, it was something else, it still would have caused that problem, them being shorthanded.
Yeah, but MAGA reacts. People are dead. I mean, why would he? Even you're admitting that it might not be true. How does this make him look to take out a time when they haven't even? I mean, there's 30 people still in the plane right now. There's still, there's a couple dozen at least that are still inside the plane. Their bodies are still in there, bloating and everything. And he's out here saying this
is where I agree with you 100%. He was completely insensitive and He was completely insensitive. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
No, he should have. The problem with Trump is he just speaks whatever's on his mind. I mean, it's his downfall. It's his.
Also too.
It's a superpower, but it's also his kryptonite.
Yeah, because you got 3 service personnel that have lost their lives to this country, He's already blamed them for the accident and everything. I mean, like, how are their families supposed to view this?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with him on that though. Like, maybe the plane didn't have a good view of the helicopter, even though they looked like on the same level. The helicopter should have seen that airplane. Like, it wasn't like cloudy. It wasn't going.
Yeah,
that
but what if
fast.
it's outside?
It
Like
was
when
right there.
yeah, but like my last caller said, what if the plane was outside of his field of view?
I was watching a video. There's a video from like a couple.
You're not about to say what I think you're about to say. You're not about to say you could tell in the dark.
No. I was just watching a video of some people flying. There's a bunch of YouTubers. You know Diesel Dave? He's this YouTuber. He owns a Black Hawk.
Okay.
And he was taking a bunch of other YouTubers on rides with it in the snow and whatever. And that thing has a lot of windows. That's not like a low visibility helicopter.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean the thing isn't coming. Okay, the plane. I don't know what the stall speed of that CRJ is, but it's got to be at least 120 miles an hour or more. So it's coming at you at that speed. I don't know how fast the Black Hawk was moving. I don't know how out, because I said outside of his field of view, it got a lot of windows, but there are still blind spots. How can you just assume they would have seen it?
I don't know. It just it wasn't. I just agree with him on that. I don't know the actual facts if they actually were able to see him or not.
Should he have waited? Should he have waited till the investigation was complete and their bodies were returned to the parents before saying that?
But by then, if you'd be insensitive for bringing it up after the fact. I mean, I think he's fucked up.
Insensitive to who?
Now, talked about it later.
Insensitive to who?
To the same people, like bringing up the helicopter crash after they mourned and everything is done. And he did.
No, you were saying.
Look, I don't know why you gave me like answering these weird questions. I don't know the answers to these things. You get me in trouble every time. Like I'm trying to defend him on this. I'm not trying to defend him on this.
It's not a weird question though.
I'm trying to tell you what's on his mind and how I would do it, but I'm not trying to defend him in any of this.
Okay,
he's wrong for bringing it up. Maybe there's no good time for it. I don't think there is.
Okay. What do you think of the tariffs?
The tariffs is just a tax, and the way I see it is Trump's trying to tax people who get their shit from overseas instead of taxing Americans. So, like, the fucking Democrats, they're going to raise the corporate tax. And that raise in the corporate tax would have been way more than these tariffs. And if Trump both does the tariffs and reduces the corporate taxes, then all he's doing is instead of taxing everybody, he only is taxing the people that bring their shit from overseas. So he's giving a tax cut to people who do their business here in America, and he's taxing people that are bringing their shit from overseas.
Do you realize that? You realize that there's a lot of things we purchase in America that you cannot get if you only buy it from American labor. So let's say you wanted a brand new TV. How many options do you have if you got to get an American TV with American parts?
But listen, if that company, instead of paying $10 on tax, they pay $10 on tariffs, their cost is still the same. So the TV shouldn't go up in price. You get what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Because I think that's Trump's plan.
Wait, say that again?
When a company sells their product, they pay a tax on it, right? It's a corporate tax on profit or whatever.
So he's going to give them a 25% corporate tax.
Well, it's not. It doesn't calculate to be the same, but he's basically going to give them. Let's just say with a TV that's worth like $1,000, instead of the company paying $100 in taxes, they're going to pay $100 in tariffs. And I think that's his goal, to reduce taxes for American businesses and then charge anyone the money that you're saving on corporate taxes, you'll pay in tariffs if you get your shit from overseas. But if you're an American company and you have all your shit in America, you'll just get the discount and you'll get the help. But
so all of the American companies that sell products in Canada, in China, in Mexico, what's going to happen to them?
I mean, hopefully the money they save on corporate tax outweighs the business they'll lose. And that's on Canada to charge us taxes. I mean, if Canada wants to charge their citizens more taxes, I don't think the Canadians are going to like that because they already get charged a ton of taxes. We don't.
So you would admit then there's a good possibility that if you're an American company and you do business with customers in those countries, it may hurt you.
I mean, it depends. Like I said, because in the end, the Democrats are right about things. In the end, the Democrats are right about one thing. The customer pays the taxes. Canada is not going to pay the taxes. We're going to pay the taxes.
Right.
But hopefully, these corporations don't play dumb and realize that the money they're saving on corporate tax, they're paying in import tax instead. Because that's what Trump's been saying, right? I don't want to charge taxes. I'm just going to charge import tax instead.
I mean, he said I don't want to charge.
That's his plan overall.
Yeah, he said I don't want to charge taxes, but we all know a tariff is essentially an increase in price to the customer. So you're going to pay. You're going to pay more, at least in the beginning, for certain. I don't know if he has all of the bugs ironed out the way you're saying, but I mean, on the interim, it's going to go. Things are going to go up in price.
I mean, the Democrats were going to raise the corporate tax anyway, so it's just, I think we're getting the same effect.
I thought we voted the Democrats out. Wait, hold on. I thought we voted the Democrats out to make stuff go down in price.
Well, he's doing that in other ways by increasing oil production and reducing the cost of energy, which reduces the cost of everything. I mean, listen, I just bought a steak today, a T-bone steak for $13. You know when was the last time I bought a T-bone steak for $13? It's been in like the 30s or 40s the last couple of years.
So what has Trump done? What has Trump done in 10 days to bring down the price of steak?
Maybe just his rhetoric alone. Maybe the telling the Saudis things.
Maybe the freshness date on your steak. What date did that steak expire?
I just got it today.
That don't mean shit. They make when it's getting close to the end of the freshness date.
It might have been just a random sale. I'm just giving you an anecdote here. It might be just a random sale.
Yeah, I think you just got lucky.
It was like $40 and above.
Yeah, I would be curious.
Everything else.
Go ahead.
It looks fresh. It's Publix. Publix usually has good quality.
Well, no, that ain't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, let's say a steak expires in 2 days. Towards the end of its expiration date, they bring the price down because they know they need to sell it real quick. Otherwise, nobody's going to buy it. It'll just sit there.
And I'm probably going to cook it really quick just in case.
Yeah, you got a steak that's about to go bad. It got to do with Trump. Got something to do with the calendar.
Hey, like I said, it's an we'll see. But you're right.
You ain't buying no 30.
But I didn't check the price of eggs because I already have plenty of eggs. So I'll check that next time.
So if you had to give them a letter grade, A, B, C, D, or F, what are you giving them so far?
Like a B plus, because he's still fucking up with that whole thing where he tried to stop all the money going out, but he was very unclear about it, and it caused a lot of confusion for no reason. And he needs to control his rhetoric. I know it helps him out on a lot of shit, but he needs to really control the negative rhetoric.
You okay with him firing everybody like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we wanted. We wanted reduction in government. Hopefully these people get repurposed into something else. But yeah, we want a reduction in government. We don't want people just sitting around doing nothing and getting paid for it, especially when they're working at home and you don't know what the hell they're actually doing.
And you feel confident that all these people he firing they were just of no value?
I mean, yeah. If the problem is with government is once you create a job, you can't get rid of it when it's obsolete. It takes a lot to get rid of these jobs sometimes. This government is not efficient because, when they fuck up, they don't go out of business. They stay in business forever. That's the problem with government. Like when a job of mine is not making me money, I eventually get rid of the person. But the government doesn't have to do that because, they don't have to be profitable, and they're not profitable. I mean, it's the problem with government. It doesn't have a way to eliminate. It can't go bankrupt. That is it can't go out of business because they're doing a bad job. And that's the problem. So how do you know?
No, before
how do they get rid of these jobs? How do they get rid of these jobs when they're obsolete?
Well, you transfer them.
Well, hopefully they find them new jobs, something that's more useful.
Because my guess is some of the people he firing voted for him. They literally voted themselves out of a job.
Yeah. I mean, The first year, I think I increased my taxes increased, but the second year they went down with him. When in the last what's it called? In the 2000,
The last quarter,
2016, the last time he was president, not this time.
Okay, that always last administration. All right, well, so you gave him a B, so you're happy so far.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff we have to wait and see the results. Like, that's the other, like, my whole thing with the Democrats. They kept saying, what bills did he pass? Like, every time I debate a Democrat online, he's like, Trump never passed any good bills or any of that. Like, it was all about what bills did he pass? What bills did he pass? That's not how Trump works. Trump works in executive orders and actually doing deals with actual people. And, you know, he's an active president. He's not, like, all Biden did was legislation. Like, all his accomplishments, legislation.
Wait a minute,
like,
you know Trump has passed 200 executive orders already? You're talking about legislation?
That's what I'm talking about. Biden's all legislation, and Trump isn't. Like, this was an argument I got with Democrats when I argue with them. They're like, Biden passed no bills. Trump passed no bills. Like, what bills, what policy did Trump pass that you're voting for him? That was always their argument. And I was like, yeah, like, Trump's not a legislative president. He sits there and uses the executive power and actual power of the president to do his job, which is what he's supposed to do. His job's not to pass
why would he
legislation.
and I heard you said you were concerned with this, but just give me your humble opinion. Why would he cut off all federal aid to everything?
Well, it wasn't everything. It was only supposed to be like the extra programs.
Originally, it was everything. It became super unpopular, and they started slowly but surely backtracking, but originally it was everything.
Well, let me give you my example of why I think he did it. And again, I'm not trying to offend him. I'm just telling you, like, whenever my bank account starts to go crazy and starts to, like, when I'm spending too much money and I don't know where the fuck's money's going, what I used to do was cancel the credit card or close the account and open a fresh account and slowly, like, enable the shit I need and not enable the shit I don't need. So I would turn off my credit card or turn off my bank account, and then, then slowly turn back the shit I use. Like, if I don't use Netflix anymore, I don't turn Netflix
Yeah, but
back
these are,
on.
wait, hold on, MAGA, these are people's lives. And Jessica, appreciate the graphic. Thank you for the support. Thank you, Jessica. These are people's lives, MAGA. You can't turn them off like a Netflix account. There are people out there, if you halt their finances up even for a few hours, shit starts going south immediately. This ain't a Netflix account. These are people's lives.
And that's why, listen, what I've told you several times with Trump, the reason I like him is when he makes a mistake like this, he'll quickly correct it. Where, like,
I can't believe you just said that.
But he always does this. He'll make a mistake or he'll try something out, and if it doesn't work, he'll go back on it. He's not stuck. He's got no, like.
So he's going to go back on his DEI shit.
Well, no. Why would he go back on DEI?
Because he made a mistake. Because he made a mistake, as you just indicated.
No, we're talking about funding the federal government.
Oh, so he don't always go back on it.
Turn on. Well, the DI shit, there's no reason to go back on it. Why go? I mean, you're conflating the two.
There's no reason to go back on. So wait. There's no reason to go back on something that you admit you don't even think is true.
So, hold on. I'm talking about not true when it comes to the ATC, the air traffic controllers.
He got on TV and said that accident. Hold on. He got on TV and said that accident was DEI related. You admit it. You don't think that's true.
Yeah, but that's rhetoric. That's not policy. That's
people's
not
lives.
Like executive order.
Maggie, that's people's lives.
That's still just rhetoric, and it's still rhetoric. I don't know what to tell you. It's rhetoric. Those people, it's not going to bring those people back to life.
So if you say shitty stuff about people that are dead and grieving because it's rhetoric, you should just leave it like that.
Well, it's not about the people who are dead or grieving. It's about the air traffic controllers and why they're understaffed. What does that have to do with the people that passed away?
All right.
This has to do with why were these people understaffed? Why didn't they have enough people working there? And even if it wasn't, any limitation to hiring is not going to help you be fully staffed.
Yeah, and the notion is that they were understaffed because they're discriminating against white men. That's what he's saying.
I mean, and it's not just white; it could be black too. You got to realize when you do DEI, especially with the LGBTQ and all the other requirements, you're narrowing down. You're narrowing it down to 1% of the population because only 1%
I
of the
don't, you know, I'd
population
be curious to know how many gay people are working for the air traffic control. I don't think you got this right at all. I don't think that they're only specifically hiring LGBTQ and midgets and disabled people. You make it sound like you go up in there and it looks like a zoo.
I'm talking about in any situation where you don't have enough people, there should be no. You shouldn't be doing DEI. You shouldn't be doing any kind of employment. You should be hiring whoever is qualified, and that's it. Especially if you have a shortage, you shouldn't be picky.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I don't believe that that's actually happening. I believe Trump's making that shit up. I gotta move it on. I'll give you the last word.
And no, I'm with you. It's probably not. I mean, I don't know if it's happening or not. I'm just saying DEI in general. It limits to how many people you could pick from, and any kind of limitation like that is both discriminatory and it's just not going to help you find the best in it. You're going to be shorthanded if you're very. It's like me. I'm very picky with women, and I've been single for a very long time. So I was less picky. If I didn't DEI all my women, and I would be.
Before I move it on, I'm just going to give you a phrase we used to say back in the day. Some pussy's better than no pussy. I gotta move it on though, man. Appreciate it.
I don't believe in
that. Okay. Wow. Okay, let me tap the screen. You guys know what we trying to do here. Get your boy up to about 35,000 likes. And don't be so piggy with the broads. Thank you, Big Rooster, for the support. Appreciate that. Big Rooster Show. Continuing on with the show, Will G. Trump says the United States was at its richest in 1890 through tariffs, but we only had roughly 40 million people in that year, mind you. Those same tariffs led to the Great Depression because people got greedy. Now, I think, even though you certainly would not be the viewer, Will G, to agree with what MAGA Reacts is saying, but I think one of them said something similar. No, it wasn't MAGA. It was a caller before him that made a good point that once people get accustomed to paying more and the corporations know that they can get that out of you, doesn't matter what's going on with the tariffs, they're going to keep the prices high. If for some reason something caused them to have to charge you $4 for a carton of eggs, or a dozen of eggs rather, let's say a dozen, right now a dozen of eggs is about $5 or some crazy shit. If people start regularly buying eggs at $5 a dozen, even if they remove what caused the prices to go up, the corporate heads are going to say, we've already realized they're willing to pay $5. Why not leave it that way? Or how about we lower it by 50 cents and tell them they're discounted? They're going to keep it going that way. $10, really? DJ Elizabeth, $10 for a dozen of eggs? Damn. Really? $10? Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. $10 in Cali. Well, Cali also, too, is just going to be higher for everything anyway, but $10. Stevie D. Shout out to you for the sunshine. Thank you very much, Stevie D. Will says, MAGA really does not know what a tariff is. MAGA really ain't shit. Jeez. Says MAGA really ain't shit. It is taxing on American people. And do you really believe companies will come back to the States after making a killing overseas? I don't think the goal of Trump's tariffs are going to happen overnight, which sounds like the goal is to get jobs to come back to America. I agree with you, Will. If the companies are making a killing overseas, I think at the very least, they're going to attempt to outlast Trump. They're going to look at it like, look, he's only going to be in office for 4 years. If they can make a killing overseas, they're not going to be in a rush to bring jobs back to America. Yeah! Was that Lily? Little Miyagi? Appreciate that. Thank you for the hat and mustache. No, I don't think they would rush to bring jobs back to the United States. They would try to outlast Trump. So, because if you bring jobs back to the United States, you got to deal with U.S. labor laws, U.S. salaries, and things like that. And of course, keep in mind the liberals want salaries to keep increasing. The right tends to believe in the free market and all that. They're not really big fans of increasing wages by force. But eventually, there's going to be a liberal government. So why would you want to bring your business from China over to America and deal with a bunch of employees that expect to have rights and labor laws defending them? Well, you can keep it in the Philippines or in China somewhere. So my guess is the corporations would try to outlast Trump. So no, I don't think they would leave where they're making a killing. MAGA is truly delusional, says Will. I think that I think that there's some validity to that. I think some folks are just not well versed on how tariffs work. And it could be something like the second coming of Christ, no matter how long it takes. Well, eventually it's going to work out. Eventually things are going to go the way he's saying. Could be something like that. But no, I do believe that in the interim, we're going to be paying what he's taxing those companies, or taxing those countries. 25% tax, your shit's going to go up probably something comparable. 10% tax on China, your shit's going to probably go up something comparable. And as I mentioned with my last caller, before I go back to the box and get us up to about 40,000 on the likes, we can make that happen if you show the program some love, let your thumbs not be lazy. What I also mentioned is that there are a lot of American corporations. Michael, yeah, appreciate that. Thank you, folks. Don't normally get this. Thank you, appreciate it. Because I don't think TikTok is going to be around for long. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But thank you, Mike, for the support. But one of the other things I was going to say is that there are plenty of companies in this country that have a hell of a lot of customers overseas. Coca-Cola, for instance, that's a popular beverage worldwide. What if if the Chinese return those tariffs, that's probably going to hurt Coca-Cola and a lot of other products. So I mean, people are going to get hurt behind this. Americans are going to. Everybody ain't going to benefit from it, which is what Trump is kind of leading folks to believe. There's going to be people that are going to hurt from it. Looking in the comments, Google eggs in Cali. That's crazy. Greedy corporations is why America is in this condition. You got my vote. Trump fired them. Yeah, Trump. That's what I don't. You got now. MAGA React supports all the firings. I don't know. To me, it seems like he's on a firing spree, firing everybody that was involved in prosecuting anybody from January 6th. Now, I'm critical of that because even if you think some people were over-prosecuted, there's clearly criminals that day. There are clearly people on January 6th that committed crimes. Why should the prosecutors who were just doing their job get fired for that shit? And I'm talking about some of the low-level prosecutors, not Jack Smith. Some of the low-level people he's firing. They're just doing their job. For all we know, somebody just handed them a case and said, this is your job to prosecute this. Why are they getting fired? To me, that seems a bit cruel. But yeah, I mean, there's absolutely people on January 6th that committed crimes. Why should people get fired for prosecuting them? January 6th will come back. Will be prosecuted at the state level. Well, January 6th, you can't get them at the state level. They're in D.C. Lisa Ellis says because it's political. Okay, so if a Democrat smashes into a Republican party or something like that, it doesn't matter if it's politics or not. If you got a person on TV clearly committing a crime, you don't let him off. He's clearly on TV committing a crime. I don't see how it's political means that their whole record should be wiped clear of them caught on video committing a crime. To me, that seems like that's weaponizing the DOJ, in my opinion. I'm going to weaponize the DOJ to get my people off. This says Miyagi. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Miyagi, hello. Good evening. Yep. Good karate still inside. So what do you think? You think the tariffs are going to be beneficial to Americans?
Danielson, I'm not sure.
So why is he doing it?
I'm in question about tariffs. He's doing it for a power play political move. He wants to force their hand. And he thinks that he is more aggressive, higher up America is great, or the greatest power.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say I'm going to do this to you, you will negotiate with me.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a lot of success at doing that. Now, go ahead.
And that's what he did with China in his last presidency. As he said, I'm putting these tariffs on you, and they did negotiate. But now he thinks he can do it with every country.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did vote for Trump. I am a Trump supporter. I am independent, but I lean more right. So as far as tariffs go, I think he could be pushing it a little too far, especially with Canada.
Yeah. With our allies.
Yeah, Canada's been decent to us.
Well, he says they've been taking advantage of us.
They are somewhat, but at the same time, I think his ego is getting in the way a little bit.
Wow. Hey, tell you got something on in the background. It's got to overtake you.
Oh, shut up. Turn your phone off. That's my wife.
Oh, damn.
Watching other TikToks.
I didn't mean to. Okay, so you do think he's getting out of hand at least a little bit?
Yeah, I think he's really walking a fine line, and he needs to watch it.
And on day 10, already that soon.
But I think he came into this whole thing as gung ho. You know, I didn't do it last time. I'm gonna just jump forward, do everything. You know, I'm the boss now. You know, I think he needs to step down the ego a little bit and talk to people more. Maybe.
You think there's any chance of him doing that?
That's the only part that worries me.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Trump. I don't think there's any chance at all in hell of him actually doing something. I mean, that's not his forte.
So when I jumped in, you were talking about the DEI stuff.
Yeah, what does that mean to you? Go ahead.
I want to touch on that because diversity, I think.
Hold on, real quick, one second. I'm gonna let you continue, but real quick, for my YouTube horizontal, I'm going to switch so I can start Instagram up. You're going to be down for about 30 seconds. Go ahead, complete that.
So the diversity part, I think America's already got diversity,
right?
At least in I don't know how other people technically see it. My family is completely diverse. And our jobs, we all work the same jobs. We all help each other out. We all recommend each other to companies. You know, I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm considered Caucasian. My wife is Hmong. My best friend's Black. My cousins are Mexican.
So why is he suggesting
that? My dad is Polish and German. So as far as diversity. So I'm looking at the actual 3 letters, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So as far as diversity, I think America's diverse already.
Okay.
The only part I don't get is the inclusion part. What does that mean exactly?
I guess include everybody, like for instance the LGBTQ and all of them.
Okay, and then what does equity mean to you?
I mean, generally treat everybody somewhat equal.
Is that if they're willing to put the same amount of work in?
Well, yeah, in my opinion, it should be merit-based, but here's the problem I have. If you get, like, let's take Harrison Ford, for instance, the actor from Indiana Jones. You've seen him in a ton of movies. He actually has a pilot's license. That guy fucks up while flying a lot. He's actually landed on the taxiway instead of the runway. He's had near close call. Nobody would ever say he got his pilot's license because he's a DEI or something like that. For some reason, I mean, look, at some point, to some degree, you can hire somebody, maybe a person of color, maybe a woman, maybe a member of the LGBT community, and they're not good at their job, but it wasn't because you had a quota. You just hired a bad person. Like nobody would look at somebody that Trump hired. I'm thinking of some of his bad hires that people are saying you should have never hired this. Omarosa. Omarosa is a perfect example of somebody who was on Trump's first term, a Black woman. Nobody would say that was a DEI hire. It's possible that maybe you just made a bad choice on this person. It ain't always a matter of, well, you were trying to specifically hire black and Hispanic. This is where the DEI thing goes kind of wrong. Is that we're assuming that any person of color or LGBT person that fucks up on their job was only there because of their circumstance. Sometimes an employer just makes a bad hire.
Yep. No, yeah, and I understand that point. So I was a president of a union. We had a mass layoff at the company. They cut 25% of the employees.
Wow, that is a mass layoff.
And they said, you know what? This is the only black guy we got. We got to keep him. He was not qualified. He was only.
How did he become the only? How did he become the only black guy to begin with? Is the problem? I mean, why weren't there more black people in there?
Because he was the only one that applied.
What kind of job was this?
Nuclear security.
Okay, all right. I mean, some of the go ahead.
He did pass a background check.
Okay,
but this guy was 400 and some pounds. Could barely get a firearm out of the side holster. I mean, we had people that shot better scores than him and everything else, and the company said, nope, only black person, we cannot let him go.
Well, and that's where
as a union rep, I can't recommend for anybody to be fired. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the company having that stance too. I did call my my head union and question them on it, and they were like, "Nope, we're not even going to fight it. You can't do nothing about it."
Here's what I don't understand. Okay, like if you hire a person of color or an LGBT person or something, solely based on them being LGBT or solely based on them being a woman or whatever, it's called an LGBT hire. What if you hire a white man solely because he's a white man? What is that called?
No, I agree with you. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, but they don't. But what is it called? It has to have a name.
It's called racism.
Okay. All right. Because I mean, I'm going to tell you that we certainly hired a hell of a lot more people because they're white males than we have because they're LGBT Christian or better yet, LGBT black or a person of color, and we don't point that out.
No, that's we have laws against that though, don't we?
No, we have laws against it on either side. Sometimes people find a way to get around the law.
Right. And that's a very difficult part. You know what I mean? It's very touchy on that. That's the same as the whole rental thing. Well, I don't. You know, they had people that so many people of color were turned away from rental apartments, and they were like, well, they didn't have the credit score. You know. I don't know how you fix it. You know what I mean?
Well, what we have to do is realize that DEI and affirmative action was put in place for a reason. And I don't think we're at a point where if we get rid of this stuff, that reason will not return. For instance, we want to have jobs that are merit-based. Well, the only way I'm going to get the merits for this gig is to get educated. Well, if the schools are only picking certain people, then you're only going to have those people that are likely to have the merit to get the job. A good example would be, I would use Trump as a perfect example. He went to the Wharton School of He went to the Wharton School of Finance. He brags about how good he is in business. I guarantee his entire graduating class was white males. So if he wants to do a business deal, and he's saying that in the person is saying, I'm only going to take people based on merit, well, only people like him going to have the merit. Because everybody else was denied the process to climb the ladder to get to where he's at.
No, you're completely correct. And I think that's where, to fix the situation, I think that's where you need to start. So, a little bit about me. I grew up on the south side of Milwaukee.
I'm familiar. I used to live in Milwaukee.
I lived on 7th and Cleveland.
Okay. I graduated from Marshall High School, Capital, 60th and Capital.
I went through
So I know
elementary
Milwaukee.
and middle school there.
Okay.
I was one of the only white people in school.
All right.
My parents barely made their mortgage or their rent payment.
Okay.
And when I moved from there, they finally moved when I was in middle school. Yes, we moved that. They finally moved when I was in middle school to Appleton or Neenah, which is over by Appleton. Wisconsin.
Yeah, I know where that's at. Yeah.
We finally moved there. When I got into that school, they were so advanced compared to Milwaukee. It was ridiculous. They were talking about putting me in special classes.
Damn.
You know, everything. So I think that's where it needs to start as a school system.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
It doesn't matter your area, if you're in Chicago, Milwaukee, you know, Minneapolis, California, whatever. They should have minimum curriculum, and everybody should have to be on the same standard.
Yeah, but
and that was who started the No Child Left Behind?
Hold on a second. I don't really fucked up something. I'm having an equipment malfunction here, folks.
He's on pause right now. I don't know what he did, but he was talking on one on pause.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah, I had one of my placeholders fell off. All right, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Who started the whole No School Left Behind thing?
People were saying Bush, No Child Left Behind. I don't remember which president did it.
Okay.
Several people are saying George Bush though. Several people are saying George Bush did that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't read comments, so sorry about that, but I thought that was a great idea, but they didn't actually implement it and go through with it.
What do you mean?
Because it depended on your area, on where they set your curriculum still. And it's been that way since.
And see, that's the problem.
It was that way before. But so if you're in a low income area, well, you can have shittier teachers basically.
You're gonna have a lot more than just shitty teachers. The supplies, everything. I mean, this is why a lot of people of color don't have a merit for some of these jobs, because the educational system doesn't favor them. I mean, it's starting out when they're young, and by the time they get older, you don't have a merit. You don't do as well on the test. Yeah, because you didn't educate them as well.
Right. No. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying is the low income areas don't have that education, they don't have that standard, they don't have everything else, so they lose out on the job. But then when you imply DEI on a job, well, then they have to hire people that don't have that education. So you need to start over and just go, quit the DEI, quit all the money for all that stuff, and put that towards the actual school systems and the education to start it out new to where everybody can be on the same level.
Yeah, but while you're doing that, it's going to be because like I said, it's been done one way for a long period of time, decades in one direction, where it's favored one group of people. So you're going to have to handicap some jobs to the point where you got to let people in that don't have as much merit. I don't want to do from a standpoint of people's safety, but if you don't handicap some jobs until the school system pumps out, which could be a generation or two, it's going to continue to be unfair to certain groups of people.
But you don't handicap those jobs. What you do is you put the extra money into the small communities, mainly black communities that are all undereducated because of the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put reparations into those families.
Oh, you know, at the R word now. You don't piss off a whole bunch of people.
And I'm not saying, as far as reparations go, I hear a lot of people online be like, "Oh yeah, give us $5 million for our past," and, you know, all this other shit and all this land and all this. No, you supply them with enough to maybe buy a decent vehicle, get their kids to a decent school, make sure there's decent teachers, and then help them out a little bit with rent or whatever else if they're in a bad area.
I think the problem is because of because where we are really talking about the elephant in the room. What we're discussing is essentially systemic racism. We're just not calling it that. But if you make it so the kids don't learn as much, then you guarantee that if I make it so that you don't learn as much as I do in school, then chances are when you become an adult, you're not going to earn as much as I do either. And if everything is based on merit, you're not going to get most of the jobs and the positions in power. So it starts out when you're really young and it just continues to flow on through. I don't know if you can just supply something to the schools, because if I did that to you as a kid and now you're an adult earning less than you should have because you've been handicapped, me looking out for the schools is not doing anything to make things fair by you now. I mean, that's for future generations. But essentially, you're in a position where you're fucked. I mean, I got to do something that's right by you.
You're right as far as part of it is systemic racism. But you can break that by educating every school the same, so those future generations are educated properly, and then help the parents out a little bit to, help the kids out.
Do you think Trump is going to be? Do you think Trump will be the one to do that?
No, I don't. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. Actually,
no.
I think you guys got a while to fight for that stuff, because everybody looks at it as just give me a lump sum, give me a check, give me reparations, give me this, give me that. It's not going to work that way. Very few in a low income community actually succeed, and you got to change those low income communities.
So
how do you change them? You give them a better school system,
right?
And you give them. I mean, even throw in like parenting classes.
Well, I'll tell you some ways. I'll tell you some ways you can change it. I can tell you some ways you can change it. First of all, maybe pay teachers that operate in those areas a little bit more than teachers that operate in areas where people have been systemically advantaged, so that you would encourage some of the better teachers to go there. Maybe allocate more funding for better books and computers to those areas than the other areas that's been getting all the money throughout history. I mean, there are plenty of things. Folks don't want to do this stuff, though. But there are plenty of things you could do. Maybe make it cheaper for those folks, or better yet, in my opinion, I've said that college, if you want to go and get a secondary education, it should be free for them people for a generation or two. Just make it free, because you made it used to be where they couldn't go to school at all. So why not make it free for them for a generation or two? There are ways to do it. People just don't want to really help them out at all. Remember, they didn't even want to recognize Juneteenth. They didn't want to do anything for this group.
Right, yeah. I totally get that. It's going to be, and it would take at least a couple generations to get actually completely in place. But the thing is, they need to start now.
Yeah. And that's the issue, though.
The later you wait to start it, the longer it's going to take.
The further back you are. And that's the issue, is that screaming out merit base when you know the system is designed so that one group don't get as much merit, just to me seems asinine. You know there's a reason why this group, they don't have the merit. I mean, the system is designed so they don't get it.
But you got to look at both ways. I mean, so if you're the owner of a company and you're hiring personnel, are you going to go on merit base?
Wait, say that again. I got a machine. Go ahead, say it again.
I said if you own a company and you're going to hire an employee, you're going to go on merit base, aren't you?
Right.
So it goes both ways. I mean, you need to get the youth up to the merit base.
Well, let me say this. I don't believe in corporate America. I don't believe DEI in corporate America is really happening. I think it's mostly in government jobs. Corporate, if you got your own little Ace Hardware or something like that, ain't nobody forcing you to hire black people. That's happening in corporate America, and maybe in some of the larger corporations like AT&T or something like that. But the average small business, they ain't dealing with this shit. They gonna hire who they want to.
No. You look at Amazon and FedEx, and Any company below that, they don't look at color. They look at who can I hire for the best price and who's going to do the best job.
Right.
And that's where I fall into the whole. From there, I go into the whole minimum wage thing, which I got issues with.
What do you mean?
There should not be a minimum wage. I feel that way.
So the employer can pay whatever they want.
Yes.
I could not disagree with that more.
If you don't want to work for that wage, go to a bigger company. Go to a higher company. Go do more work. Go, So when I was 14 and a half years old, I started at McDonald's for $4.75 an hour.
Okay.
I worked my way up. I actually left that company and went to Arby's restaurant. Started as a normal employee at like 15 something an hour. I think it was 15.25 at that time. I worked my way up for 4 years, became an assistant manager, and was making $42,000 a year. I said, well, this ain't enough. I left there, went to another company, started doing shipping and receiving, became a dock manager, was making $53,000 an hour. I said, well, this isn't enough. I moved, got another job. I'm making over 6 figures now.
Let me tell you why I disagree with that.
And entry-level jobs are for you to go out and buy your bicycles, go out and buy your, shit while you're in high school, middle school, whatever else. If you want to move up, work hard, move up.
Yeah, but every job that pays you like shit is not an entry-level job. That's what the point. I mean, you can do a lot of jobs. Like when every time I'm raising the minimum wage up to $15 an hour, everybody used to talk about burger flippers don't need to make $15 an hour. And I used to bring up, if you go between what the minimum wage was, which was about $7.50 an hour when that started, and $15 an hour when Bernie Sanders was saying that, there's CNAs were in that, LPNs were in that wage, school bus drivers, security guards were in that. Those ain't burger flippers. Them are grown people that are working sometimes in the middle of the night and shit like that. So everybody thinks $15 an hour is only going to apply to burger flippers. There's a whole lot of career-oriented jobs, factory workers that ain't making shit like that. If you go to a hotel and the person that come behind you and make up your bed, that ain't a kid. That's a grown person. They're not making $15 an hour in that era when Bernie Sanders was talking about that. So it ain't just burger flippers. Now, in regards to what you were talking about, if you feel like you're not getting paid right.
Can I interrupt there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I interrupt there for a second?
Go ahead.
Okay, so those jobs were making more than minimum wage.
Yeah, but they weren't making $15 an hour though.
When minimum wage went up, well, now they're making the same thing as a burger flipper.
Wait, say that again?
I said when minimum wage went up, now they're making the same thing as a burger flipper.
Yeah, the point I'm making is all of those jobs were under $15 an hour. When people started making it sound like going from $7 an hour to $15 an hour, burger flippers don't need that. And I was saying is that there's a whole lot of people other than just burger flippers making less than $15 an hour. There are some places where paramedics, during Trump administration, before the pandemic kicked in, there were a whole lot of people making less than $15 an hour that weren't burger flippers or teenagers.
Oh, no, yeah, I understand that part. Probably 10 years ago, I went and applied for a police officer job in a town in Iowa. And they gave me the wage, and I told them, I said, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, but
and I went somewhere else for higher pay.
But here's the thing. You are motivated, you incentivized to continue fighting to get higher pay. There are some folks out there that are willing to work hard, but they don't have either the drive, the motivation, or even education sometimes, or some of them may be mentally, not even fully there mentally. They'll go and give you an honest 40 hours of work per week, but they're more like a robot. They'll do what you say, but they'll never try to climb the ladder. Now, so for them folks, if you don't have a minimum wage, these will be the people you could get away with paying $3 or $4 an hour for. They still got to eat. They still need somewhere to live. That's why I'm not a fan of no minimum wage, because companies are going to find people to exploit.
But isn't that what they're trying to do with illegal immigrants now?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
You won't work for $7 a day anymore. So I'm going to bring immigrants in, and now they'll work for $7 an hour, and you're out of a job.
Right. So if you take away minimum wage, then you're going to allow them to do it to Americans.
Right.
That's a good thing.
But it's harder. It's harder for them to do it to Americans because of the fact that Americans at a certain point will say, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'll sit at home and not make nothing if that's the case.
Well, they'll sit at home and not make nothing as long as there are social programs there. But the same crew that don't want a minimum wage don't want those social programs there either.
Oh, there will always be social programs, but
I don't know if I feel confident about that. I'm just going to say this. Go ahead.
Once somebody gets something for free, it's very hard to take it away.
I'll agree with that. But I mean, with Trump in there, you never know. I got to move it on. I appreciate you coming through. Thank you, though.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate the support. All right, moving on with the program. I had to get my other devices going. That's what took so long for me to get this shit straight. But we're back up and going. Yeah, like the corporate. Yeah, to me, corporations, if you don't have minimum wage, you're going to have corporations out there that are paying people less than what the minimum wage is now. I mean, there are some folks that if they get desperate enough, I used to make Uber and Lyft videos. There are plenty of Uber drivers that make less than minimum wage. Right now, there are plenty of drivers for Uber that are not smart enough to do their finances and realize that after you factor in gas and repairs for your car and all that, you're making less than minimum wage. And the companies do things to make you believe you're making more than you really are. So, and to me, ride sharing is a perfect example. In fact, a whole lot of independent contracting jobs are perfect examples of what would happen if you didn't have a minimum wage law. There are a lot of folks that are working 1099 jobs. Uber Eats and DoorDash and some of them folks don't make minimum wage either. You got to really weigh in what you're doing if you're an independent contractor or if you're an Uber or a Lyft driver. You take somebody, let's say you go and drive 10 miles to go pick somebody up, and they're only going 1 or 2 miles. You're losing money on that trip. There's a lot of that in ride sharing. There's a lot of that in DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that stuff. There's a lot. If you took away the minimum wage in corporate America, there would be a lot of that there. You can't depend on the corporations to pay people fairly. They're looking for people to exploit. Okay? Yeah, the smart people are going to quit and go somewhere else, but there will always be new suckers. So we'll just continue this on a ever rotating staff, which is kind of exactly what happens in ride sharing. People get into it for a little while. They realize they ain't making no money and they get out of it. There's always a new sucker. There's always a new person. They're just exploiting people. Looking in the comments. For folks who are wondering how to call in, I'm on TikTok, same name, The Handsome Liberal, or Instagram. We're also currently on Instagram Live. So if you go to one of those platforms, that's how you can get on vocally, where you can hear me. We're not going back since Paul. I wouldn't agree with that. That was Kamala Harris' slogan. And look what happened to her. I don't agree with that. Tap the screen, 50,000. Let's make that happen. I did want to respond. I think I saw a super chat in here. We were yapping while I was trying to get my equipment back up. Mind you, MAGA are the biggest users of DEI because whenever they said something racist, they would invoke their good people of color friends and family to prove they're not racist. You're talking about the Tim Scotts. You're talking about the Officer Tatum's and Hodge twins. In other words, something awful about African Americans looks better if you can get it to come from the mouth of an African American. And I watch a lot of right-wing media. That is true. Greg Gutfeld even said that once. He even said something like that. When there was a liberal that said something and somebody pointed it out, I think Dana Perino or something, and he joked and said, yeah, like when we find a black person to say something that, I mean, yeah, he pretty much said it. But yeah, you're right. If you can find a black person that is critical of the black community, by the way, you can make a lot of money doing that. I'm just going to tell you, it ain't something I want to do. I like to be fair on both sides. But I've had several people tell me that listen, you speak well, you can hold an audience. If you would just do something like that, you could do very well financially. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Not if I don't believe it. I mean, and there is a lot of bad shit I can point out that happens in African American communities. We are certainly not a perfect people as a culture, idolizing gangbangers and shit. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we do that's wrong, but I don't want to have a forum where all I do is bash black people, Candace Owens type. You know, I don't want to look. If they do something good, I want to point it out. If they do something bad, I want to point it out. But there is money to be made if you're black and you just point out bad shit about black people. Let me go back to the box. And I do agree with you, Kiki. In every race, there are good and bad people. But if you are a black person and you do that to an all-white audience, you can make good money. You actually can. Let me go to the box. Thank you folks for tapping the screen. We should be around 50,000. You guys can make that happen. Continuing on with, I think it was Michael in the comments. Good evening, Michael. Welcome to the program.
Good Lord.
What's going on?
Oh man, thank you for getting us off of that. Man, you gave him 15 minutes. So
no, well, hold on. No, you about to go
DEI.
Hold on, hang on. Let me tell you why that happened. I'll tell you why that happened. That ain't normal because my I had lost TikTok and I had lost my YouTube horizontal and YouTube and Instagram audience. So I was working with devices. So I was letting him talk, listening to him, but that's why he got more time. I had to get 2 cameras back up. Keep going.
I'm just giving you shit, man. I'm just giving you shit. Yeah, it's a cluster. These first 2 weeks are a cluster. I think that we've seen it all from one end of the other, whether it's executive orders, whether it is the a ban on all of the Juneteenth and Black History Month and Women's History Month. But it's all right out of the playbook.
What does he did with Black History Month? What does he do with Black History Month?
He banned the federal government from celebrating all of those things that I just named. You didn't
that's right. He did. Yeah, he did do that. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah. So within the federal government, you go ahead and through the, you just ban all of that stuff. But hey, we're not singling out anybody, Tim, are we? We're not singling out any groups and calling everything DEI and trying to disparage this woman that was flying the Black Hawk helicopter. We're not. So her mom and dad didn't want her name released because of before it was released. We're not disparaging people. We're not doing what we say we're doing. Just continue to be a part of your cult and everything will be fine. That's all. Just turn away from it. Everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. Trump's turning on water valves here in California. Just turn on the water. Just let the water flow. I told you, Tim, it's so stupid, man. We are 2 weeks into this and you cannot tell me that this doesn't feel like we've been doing this for at least 6 months.
6 months, yeah. I said
this is crazy.
He's moving
this
fast.
Is crazy as hell.
He's moving. He's moving at lightning speed. He's moving fast.
Yeah, and just what he needs to understand that your last caller when he talked about No Child Left Behind, what he doesn't understand, and you can bring a teacher up here to speak to it more succinctly than I. But I deal within the school district or been dealing with the school district for a long time. No Child Left Behind never allowed. Teachers couldn't slow down inside the classroom anymore. They couldn't slow down anymore because you're keeping up. Listen, Tim, how old are your kids?
I got a 23-year-old now and a 14-year-old.
Okay, so you were more likely to get a phone call from your school about your child's attendance than you were his or her grades, right? Because the attendance is the funding, right? Every seat in the book, every seat in the classroom. But if your kid was failing in school during the quote unquote No Child Left Behind, they weren't slowing the curriculum down. They weren't slowing the curriculum down at all.
So your kid is just failing.
Right, because they had this quote unquote standardized testing and they were just pushing kids through the system, just passing them on through. You would very rarely, matter of fact, here in the state of California, I've heard and I've witnessed, because I've worked with the school district for a long time now. They would threaten to retain children, but then they wouldn't retain them because they were worried about how it would impact them socially. So it's No Child Left Behind was a disaster. It did not help. It did not help the school system. It did not help the education system at all.
But you would agree with me in my last. You would agree with me in my last caller that the disparity in education is why there's more people of color and maybe even women that have less merit as adults with some of these jobs.
Yeah, because but here's the yes, I do. But I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you. But I've also know that as when we talk about DEI, and it's been demonized again because everything is demonized when white men don't like it. It just gets demonized. CRT, DEI, anything that could be positive for the Black and brown communities and women gets demonized. That's what they do. That's their playbook. It's right out of the tenets of fascism. Like I told you, it's all part of their plan. None of this is by accident. Trump's tariffs are going to hurt us. We're never going to get to $2 eggs like Jeremy keeps saying in the comments. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's not going to happen. But here's what I do want people to do.
Are you telling me Trump lying? Are you telling me Trump lied?
Yeah. Again, I'm telling you, he can't. If he told the truth, it might hurt, right? But listen, if you ever want to, always look at the USDA forecast, and it'll tell you what the USDA thinks about forecast for the upcoming year, right? So when they talk about poultry or pork or beef, and all of those reports were saying that there was going to be potentially be a decrease this year based on the performance of the previous year, right?
Okay.
But all of those forecasts were coming out prior to these tariffs. So there's a moment in time that you want to catch these things, right? You want to go look at those reports, download them so you can look at them today. And then after these tariffs hit, then you go back and look how they start reforecasting and adjusting these reports. And you will see that all these things that we're talking about, eggs will have to do with tariffs because a lot of our poultry and our eggs aren't produced here. But anyway, but a lot of people just go look at what's out there and you'll see all the things that are going to be impacted by his tariffs, and you'll notice that we're going to be impacted by it. But Trump's excuse for it is, well, we'll get through it. The American people, we know it's going to hurt.
But what about the notion that the tariffs will bring jobs back to America?
How?
Well,
how? They don't want to pay people anyway. They don't want to pay people now, Tim.
Right.
How do you bring a job back from somewhere that gets it done cheaper? How do you bring it back here and you don't want to raise the minimum living wage now? It doesn't even make. Listen, it doesn't make sense, Tim.
Yeah, that's what Will G was. Yeah, Will G was saying the same thing. I don't see it, but some people believe that though.
Well, yeah, and some people believe he's not a liar. Some people believe that DEI is a bad thing. Some people believe that women should have the rights to their own bodily autonomy. Some people believe a lot of things, so you can't go on that. We try to be fact-based, right? We try to be fact-based and not feelings-based. But everything you're hearing is feelings. MAGA Reacts was trying to explain away everything Tim is. I said, Tim.
MAGA does a good job. MAGA Reacts does a good job at that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does a good job in that phone booth that he lives in, where he can't get away. He can't. He just. It's so bad, and I know you do it for entertainment value because there's no validity to any of his arguments whatsoever. There's just no validity.
I almost want to have you talk to him one of these days. Because
man, you know what, Tim? We just got to pick a topic because it's crazy. It's just crazy because it doesn't even make sense. The bottom line is this. We are watching this nation, in all seriousness, move closer towards white Christian nationalism and fascism than we ever have before. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. There's no way to talk around it, Tim. We have too much evidence that that's what's happening. And when every time Trump speaks, since he's been in office, it all points back to that evidence. Project 2025 is real. Everything that they've been doing that he said they weren't doing is all in that manifesto. All of it.
Well, but then I'm going to ask you, I think I've asked you this several times, but one thing you got to say about Trump, he ain't doing shit he didn't promise. He made promises that he was going to do this stuff. If he is as bad as you say, why the hell did so many people vote for him?
Because, you just heard MAGA Reacts because they can explain it away to make themselves feel like they're not that thing. You understand what I'm telling you? It's like they try to explain it away because if they accept it, then they are that thing.
What do you mean?
They are that thing.
Define that thing.
Racism, racist, bigoted. What else you want me to tell you? I mean, it is what it is. They don't want to be part of that thing because the truth means that they are that thing. They are the racists. They are the misogynists. They are the sympathizers of these things. They're okay with fascism. They're okay with those things. I know, Jeremy, you're saying it's the race card, but it's you know what's so funny about Trump supporters? They always talk about the race card and how we don't move past the past, right? Have you ever seen we're always playing victim, but the funny thing is, in order to understand where you are today, you got to know where you came from, right? I mean, you have to know where you came from. You ever seen a weight loss commercial that never showed the before picture?
No.
Have you ever seen? Well, you know why? Because if you never saw the before picture,
you can't tell if she did well. Yeah, you can't tell. Yeah, you wouldn't be to know what progress was made.
Exactly. But what they want to do is go, no, because if you talk about the history in this country and colonization and all that, they are so afraid that people will know what really happened in this country.
But to me,
that
doesn't make sense to me. Like using your weight loss example, seems like you would want to know. You would want to show how awful the country was in the beginning versus where it's at now, because you would be able to show all the progress.
Yeah, but they don't want to do that because that means that that everything that we've been saying for decades and centuries was true.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the sad part. It's not that complicated, but they make it so complicated to get people distracted. And now here we are because a lot of people are distracted. It's just a sad reality.
So we got 4 years.
All of these agencies.
So we got 4 years. What I mean, he's done so much in 2 weeks. Like, what else can happen?
A lot can happen, Tim. Sadly. Did you know that all the passengers on that jet that crashed in Philadelphia, they were all Mexican nationals? Did you know that?
I knew they came here for some surgery or something like that, but they were going to go back to Mexico.
Yeah, they were all Mexican nationals, and there were a lot of Russian ice skaters on the other plane, and it's just crazy shit.
What are you saying?
Crazy shit.
What are you saying though?
I'm just saying. I just asked, did you know? I'm just asking you a question. I'm just asking, did you know that everybody on that plane were Mexican nationals on their way back to Tijuana from the U.S.?
Are you saying something may have happened intentionally?
I don't know. I'm not gonna put that out there. But what I'm saying is we've had two crashes at the moment that he's gutting that agency.
Yeah. I mean, he fired the head of the FAA, and now we got this shit.
He's fired the equal opportunity. So the EEOC commissioners, he fired 2 of them that were Democrats. One was a black woman before their contract is expired. I mean, what are we actually trying to do here?
It looks like he's trying to replace the whole damn government.
Yeah. For what? For what particular reason?
My guess is loyalty. Folks that don't favor his agenda.
Mm-hmm. Did you read the 14 Tenets of Fascism, like I said?
I've read it. I don't remember. And we talked about this last time. There was one of them. I can't remember what it was. There was one. 13 of them are there.
13 of them are there, right? Yeah. Can you just excuse that away?
No, I can't. No, look,
okay.
It looks bad.
What's the stock market looking like right now, Tim? What do you think the stock market's going to look like on Monday? What do you think the stock market's going to look like on Monday after these tariffs?
Not favorable. Some companies are going to be really frightened.
So there's going to be a lot of people that voted for Trump. They're going to look at their 401ks on Wednesday of next week and be like, "What in the hell?" Right?
There's no denying that if you work for a company that has a large amount of overseas business, what Trump is doing is probably going to hurt your company. And maybe like you said, your 401k or your bottom line. There's no denying that's going to happen.
There's no denying that, right? And they're just willfully accepting it. It's just crazy, but it's going to impact.
Well, I don't want to say willfully, because I do believe Trump is doing some things he didn't run on.
Oh, 100%. But we were talking about, you just said that you give him credit for doing what he said he was going to do.
Right.
Now, He didn't get up. He didn't get up at his rallies and say he was going to do a lot of this stuff. But if you read Project 2025, he absolutely said he was going to do this stuff.
But he said he says he didn't have nothing to do with Project 2025.
Exactly. So that's my whole point, man. These people are part of a cult. They will not let it go. They're going to have to wake up and log on to their Fidelity account and look and see that their 401k has been destroyed. And the only thing they can point to is him. There ain't no going back to, well, when Biden, or you can't say none of that shit. All of these moves by executive order are his and his alone to own.
So let me ask you this. What are the chances, what are the chances that some of this stuff could end up causing permanent damage?
Most of it will cause permanent damage. Now, that's the thing that people aren't paying attention to. Most of the stuff will cause permanent damage, right? But they believe it. They listen to it. Okay, let me ask you this. Did you see his post about releasing the water in California? Did you see it?
No.
Where he said they turned on and released all this water, and people believe that. Well, if it wasn't for him, they don't realize that they were planning to release water because we had a storm coming here in California, and they have to release some of the water. So the water, it's just crazy to me. But they released this like he called and somebody came down here and turned a huge big old valve and let water. It's crazy. But the damage, there will be some things that will not be reversible. Yeah. They will be undeniable. Trying to suspend all of these federal agents to the point where he had to rescind it.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of wonder, what is the morale like for federal employees? I mean, this guy fires you for little and not like. What is the morale got to be like working for that at this point?
You want me to tell you? What? I've never told you. Did you want me to tell you? Sure. I know. My sister is a U.S. civil rights attorney. She's been in D.C. for 26 years. See, Tim, I don't have to tell you everything about my sources when people don't think we know what the hell was going on. You just don't have to share everything. My sister's been doing that for years. I know what the morale is. My brother-in-law was Secret Service. I know what the hell is going on. I'm not, listen, and what is the morale? It's terrible.
Yeah, particularly if you are
26 years.
Yeah, if you're a member of one of those communities that folks might feel that you're DEI, yeah, at any given time, they may chop you.
And they're being targeted. And here's the thing that people need to understand. It's not just about their job. These people are being singled out within this Trump administration, and all those Trump supporters behind Project 2025 and those 50,000 people they were interviewing as loyalists to take over these jobs. Those people are being targeted. Their names are being put out there. They're not reporting that yet. Their names are being put out there. They're getting texts. They're getting calls. All this shit, Tim.
Any chance of a wide scale or large scale revolt, walkout, or anything like that in the federal government?
I think so. I think it's possible. But here's the thing that people aren't paying attention to as well. He's trying. They had just negotiated with Biden their federal union terms. Now he's trying to nullify those, right?
Yeah.
You're targeting attorneys. You're talking about federal attorneys and federal lawyers. They're not stupid. You gotta assume a lot of them folks up into litigation. You gotta assume a lot of them folks voted for Trump. I do gotta move it on, but I'm glad I'm not in a job where he could, just deem I'm DEI and get rid of my ass. I'm just going to say this in my opinion. If you're a woman or if you're LGBTQ or if you're black and you fuck up at your job, not only are you going to get reprimanded for fucking up, he's going to say you were only hired because you are that. And he's going to put it out, and he's going to put it out there for people to go after you like he does. That's what they do. They don't care how it's going to impact people's lives. Tim, we've seen it over and over again. They don't care. They could care less. Let those families mourn and stop trying to blame somebody for doing something. This is not the time. But they have no respect for anything. So it is what it is. But listen, man, keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna keep supporting.
I don't know how long we'll be able to do it, but thank you. Appreciate it. This
is crazy, man. But I'll talk to you, bro.
All right, appreciate it. Right. And yeah, because I'm hearing even media threats. I wouldn't be surprised if we cannot communicate as freely as we can right now. I would not be surprised if something changes on that. The world is moving fast. Gen X, Appreciate the support. Says, bring us all up. Let's do this WWE style. I don't like bringing up a bunch of. I'll bring up a couple of you folks, but I don't like bringing up because it turns into a scream match. I'll let anybody who come up speak, even if they're telling me I'm a piece of shit over and over again. I let people speak, but I don't bring up multiple guests at the same time because it just turns into a scream fest. I like to have a civilized conversation, so to speak, and you can't do it when you got 6, 7 people on at the same time. I know a lot of lives do that, and they are exactly what I just said. They're scream fest. Sean B45. At some point, it's gonna be just black folks and white folks left in the same room. I can literally hear the next snap when Trump asks, "What's next?" So what you said, he's gonna get rid of everybody else, and then it'll just be black folks and white folks, and then he's like, "What's next?" Wow, scary shit. It's just a troubling time at this point. A troubling time. I mean, I'm okay with getting the economy back on course. I'm fine with securing the border, getting folks out of the country that don't belong here. But when you start firing the whole federal government and cutting off all financial funding for everything, and then having to slowly roll it back because you realize how unpopular, that's to me is a different level. Look, I understand there is waste in the federal government. And I understand you guys can tap the screen and get the likes up to about 60,000, make that happen. But there's gotta be a process to it. You can't cut off all federal funding immediately like you did. Because there are some programs, some citizens, that can't go an hour without their money. They don't have the time for you to figure out what's wasteful and what's necessary. You can't just shut every damn thing. I mean, there are some people who are living on a fixed income. They can't miss one check. They can't miss anything. People who live in Section 8 housing. I mean, they're going to start the eviction processes right away. You can't just shut everything off and, well, we'll figure out who's wasteful. You can't do it like that. And what he did was dangerous, in my opinion. One of the most intelligent people you've had on, says Jay Roger, in regards to my last caller, Mike. Mike is good. Mike is good. I'll continue on in a minute here. By the way, Trump shut down the Civil Rights Division at the DOJ, which is exactly what my last caller said. I gotta say, in addition to not liking DOJ, not liking getting these acronyms wrong. In addition to not being a big fan of DEI, CRT, or any of this other stuff that Trump talks about, he doesn't seem like he's a big fan of anything that acknowledges minorities. Black History Month. I'm okay with going after waste in the federal government. Ain't a lot of money being wasted on Black History Month. Why would you take that away? There's so many other things you could do, like lowering the price of eggs and all this other shit on day one. I mean, to do all that stuff in the first week or two, it almost seems like it was planned. Going back to the box, continuing on with Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. Welcome to the program. I don't know what to say on this, but it looked like it was planned. If people of color mess up at work, they're accused of being DEI higher because they're colored. We're on higher standards. Zach, that's what my opinion is, that if you're white and you fuck up, you just a fuck up. If you're a person of color or a woman or LGBT and you fuck up, you only got here because you're a woman, a person of color, or LGBT. That ain't always true. I mean, sometimes I brought up Omarosa when Trump had her as part of his administration in his first election win. Nobody called her a DEI. He had to fire her. Nobody called her a DEI hire. Didn't count. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Man, this is not good shit. 10 days in, what say you?
I mean, it's horrible. I'm just reacting to the statement you was making about how do these government employees, how do they feel? Not, I spent part of my life in the government, military, then civil service, and then outside contract for the military. And I keep contact with a lot of these people. This is causing a lot of anxiety. And I know that MAGA people don't care about that stuff. They just say, look, what they don't understand is that these people work in areas that support all levels of the government. You don't just tell people at a VA hospital, everybody, send them all a letter and tell them, send this back within a week, and then we just gonna put you on unlimited leave for 8 months where you could keep collecting your pay. Because my question to the people that I know, and one of them is my cousin, was what would happen if everybody got together and say, okay, we all gonna take it?
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Right. What would be, and now they're trying to get rid of the agreements that the unions have worked out with the government already. Like this is horrible on a level that people can't fathom. And I know people outside the government and stuff is sitting there saying, well, it was so much waste, we need to get rid of all of these people. There are different ways. Look, I wouldn't agree with it either way, but there are ways where you can eliminate certain sectors to say, no, this is too important. We're not offering it to them. At least go in and take a look and see what areas you can work. But just to say everybody, which is about 2.3 million people, and we can say, what if 10%? 10%, that's 230,000 people from all through the government. I'm talking about healthcare. I'm talking about disabled veterans. I'm talking about every area of government or of civil life will be affected.
Let me ask you, man. Let me pose this, because you're talking about getting rid of so many people at the same time. I think we're on the same page on this. But in the comments, one of my viewers says, Tim, you said he didn't drain the swamp last time. Let that man cook. You got TDS. So he's saying what Trump is doing is essentially draining the swamp.
And that's effectively, but like I said, is because it's not affecting that person right at this moment. But you got to understand, like these people, like my cousin, she works for the IRS. She's an agent, and those people are terrified for their jobs.
Wow.
And if you start poaching people, now keep in mind, they're already behind. They're already behind on what they can do. They're limited. Their staffs are limited. They don't have enough agents as it is. Those are the people who collect the revenue to bring for services to our country, not just social services, but all services that are affected by the federal government.
You know what my concern is, in addition to, like you said, what if they all said they want to quit or whatever? Sabotage. Some people, if their employer is treating them like shit, they may go out with some sabotage. I mean, you're fucking over what could be, as you say, millions of people. All you need is a few of them. They got their hands on. They got access to sensitive information in different forms, in different levels of the federal government, all over the place, from the IRS, you name it. They're all over the place. My concern is sabotage, because you're treating so many people poorly.
Right, and you see what they allowed Elon Musk to do: go in and disable civil, like higher level civil servants jobs. I'm talking about on the executive level, and go in there and cut their computers so they couldn't get back into their computers.
He was trying to prevent sabotage.
Right, but who is this unelected bureaucrat to go in to our government data? He's trying to get access to the financial system. I can't understand how people can sit back and just be like, this is okay. I cannot. That's just like if George Soros was just,
they would have a problem with if George Soros.
We just let George Soros just have access to all of the financial data, communications, getting people at the Fed fired, having communications with Xi Jinping.
Well, I'll answer your question by giving you a comment from a viewer. Daniel L. in the comments says, Trump knows what he is doing. Trust him. So that's why they're letting him do it. They believe he knows what he's doing.
But what leads them to believe that he knows what has shown them that he has the ability to understand what he's doing? Like, if they could explain to me, like, show me where he's done it in the past, where he's operated on a level of intelligence. Like, we see how he handles these terrible tragedies. Everything is DEI. He takes no responsibility for anything that happens. He's handling this takeover of the government like a venture capitalist take over a company. That's the government. No matter what they want to say, the government's a corporation. The government is not a company. It's not a company.
But a lot of folks feel like this country would be better off if it was ran like a business, though.
Right, but it's like that ship has already sailed.
What do you mean?
Especially if you don't have the people to to make it consistent. Cause like you were saying, he's only got 4 years. And we pretty much know that a vast majority of this stuff he's doing is going to get, if it doesn't get turned back by the courts, is going to be turned back by society when he's gone. Just allowing these random civilians to be able to handle all of this and do all, no other administration is going to come into power and just tell somebody that don't have nothing to do with government, you just go in there and you just fix everything.
Yeah, he might be propelling the next politician simply that's running a campaign of I'm gonna be the anti-Trump. I mean, if he flips too many layers or mechanisms of government, the next guy might win just by simply saying I'm willing to flip them all back.
Well, I mean, that could be the thought process, but I just people just don't understand how much government affects their lives. And they're about to find out. So I don't know, if these people that's saying this stuff, like Maggie X gets up here, it don't matter what you say. He gives you an alternative version that doesn't make any sense. And then he says, well, I'm not trying to defend him, but that's all he does is defend him. No matter what you say, even you can walk him through something and he can agree with you to the very end. And then you say, well, so what you're saying is he was wrong. No, that's not what I'm saying.
I like MAGA. MAGA X is good people.
I'm not saying he's not good people. I'm just saying what he's saying makes no fucking sense. You could be a good person and just be ignorant to a lot of realities in the world. You can be. But I was we had a couple. Y'all had a couple different topics, but it was talking about he's trying to say tariffs won't roll back on us. It'll just be the corporations.
He did say that.
Okay, well, then that leads me to understand that he has no understanding of what capitalism and what these corporations stand for. They stand for their stock positions. Nobody is going to tell their board, well, hey, now we got lower tax, you know what I'm saying? Now we got a lower tax, a position. So now let's lower the cost on our goods and services. That's not how any corporation, they forecast their profits and stuff over years. So if the company, if the American government comes in and says, we're going to give you more of a tax break, they're going to forecast that into their new, you know what I'm saying, to what's going on.
But what about what he did say is that, okay, look, they're going to impose tariffs on goods coming into the country to retaliate, but Trump is going to give relief by reducing their taxes to offset it.
That has not, it doesn't matter. The company is still going to, their profit margin is their margin. Their margin is not going to change.
So you said they're gonna fuck us over regardless.
It doesn't change if they get a tax break or not. If they making 100% profit margin on whatever product they sell, and he comes and put a 25% tariff, that means they got to change theirs to 125 to meet their goals as a company.
So you're saying you basically said they're gonna fuck us over regardless.
The companies. Yeah, capitalism doesn't have a feelings.
Right.
It doesn't care about how the country feels. All of this, well, if we put tariffs on these people, then we gonna bring this stuff back. You can't bring it back unless you have the infrastructure in this country to mass produce, and we don't have it. And these companies are not stupid enough to spend billions of dollars to build factories to make, lamps or some shit that's being produced in other countries. It doesn't make any sense. So they're not going to do that. It doesn't benefit them. And I know because I'm a beneficiary of what they do. And so I don't want to be contradictory. I understand what they do because I'm a beneficiary of the structure that's put in place, and everybody else that takes advantage of the long-term stock market. We all understand. We can look, we can look at the companies, the prospectus, and we can see what they plan as a profit going forward, and the adjustments that they need to make to maintain or do better. If the government gives them a tax break, they don't say, "Oh shit, we can make it better for our consumer." That's not what they do.
They don't pass it on, right? They try to pocket as much as possible.
They pass it on to me as dividends, or corporate buybacks to improve the company. It has nothing to do with the consumer. The consumer is just that. It's consuming. They don't look at us as people. They look at us as tools to achieve the financial goals.
Yeah. That's the way I see it. Real quick in the comments, Will G says, Trump went bankrupt 6 times. If the government fails, who's going to bail them out? Now, he's talking about, the fact when people say that we need Trump because he runs the country like a business, he's saying that Trump has ran 6 businesses, at least 6 bankruptcies into the ground. But do you see Trump as a successful businessman?
I don't. I see him as he's an opportunist, and he's been around a lot of people who have introduced to him using his fame to produce a lot of income. I don't look at him like everything that he put his hands on, the companies that he in particular ran himself, like the steaks and the casinos and the water and the liquor and the state, all of that stuff has failed. What he has benefited from was the TV show. He benefited from his father's passing, which he got about $400 and something million, and he's benefited from selling his branding deals.
His likeness, his likeness.
Yeah. And I don't know that makes you like a financial genius from doing that. Like, we all know that the people that he had around him were the ones that his father had, and they were the corrupt people, and they taught him everything he knows.
You already know I disagree. I think the guy is a successful businessman. I think the guy is capable of selling.
Anybody that has money is somehow, their money is like.
If you have money and it's continuing to grow, I mean, the man could sell ice to Eskimos. I mean, he's selling Bibles and he's not even a Christian. How good do you got to be?
He didn't make the stuff up. That's what I'm saying. Like, this stuff he's doing, all this money.
He's part of it, didn't Cal? He's part of it. It won't happen without him.
The money he just made off of crypto was his son Barron's idea.
No, to me it sounds like you're trying to avoid giving the guy credit. How many Americans own a MAGA hat? Probably 30, 40 million people walking around with his name on their hat.
I don't believe he gets 50% of the profits for the MAGA hats because there's no way because they're not copywritten. I can make one of those in my house.
Even if
all of them people, when them people is at the MAGA rallies and stuff, them people are not dealing with the Trump campaign and bringing out merch and stuff that's directly tied to him. Them people that make T-shirts and flags and all of that, he's not getting that money.
I don't know. I think you don't think so. Is MAGA trademarked?
It may be, but he would have to go out there and he would have to inspect and stop each person that's out there selling MAGA gear, and that he ain't gonna do.
Yeah, you and I disagree. I think the guy's doing very well business. He could be doing better, of course, but I think the guy's doing very well in terms of business. I think the guy's making a killing.
Well, I mean, he might be making a killing, but that doesn't make him a great businessman. Like, there's a difference between being able to, that's like saying was Don Corleone a great businessman? Like, what he was doing was just wrong. Like, it was just morally. It was just corruptible. I wouldn't call him a great businessman. He was taking advantage of a lot of people who were addicted to an illegal substance. I don't consider him a great businessman. Trump takes advantage of a lot of people. I don't know, for whatever reason, that they believe that everything he says is true. But that doesn't make him a great businessman.
If I'm selling insurance door to door, or if I'm selling vacuum cleaners and you say, well, I don't know if everything he says is true. If people are buying all these vacuum cleaners or insurance, I'm successful. I mean, call it what you want. At the end of the day, he is successful.
I would say that, for one, what I would give him credit for is being a good con man.
Before I let you go,
is that fair?
No, it's not. You hating on the man. You hating.
Going to buying these things, that makes him a good con man. It doesn't make him a good businessman.
I don't think everything he does is a con. I think some things he sells people they really want to buy, and he sells it. The Bibles, he ain't conning nobody with those Bibles. That's a product. They getting what they asking for.
He is conning people because he's giving people from the very beginning the impression that somehow he was religious, regardless of how he came out in the last year or so, and been giving you all these kind of reasons why not. But that's after the fact. These people believe he was sent by God. Does that make him a great businessman?
He never said he was sent. He never said that though.
That he cares about what they want.
He never said he was sent by God.
He has said, yeah, he has. He even said when he got pew pew.
You're telling me that
God wanted me here. Yeah.
You know how many gangbangers though got almost killed and said the same shit? That God kept me alive.
I mean, what does that got to do with what Trump said?
I think it's a common phrase when you survive.
No. They don't say God. Look, God kept me here so I could keep on gangbanging. That's what he said. God kept me here so I can do His work. He kept me here to do His work. That's two totally different things. Come on, Tim. Man.
All right. Let me read one to you. Oh, but that was funny as hell. Mr. Realistic says discussing DEI is overlooking who actually benefits from it and runs it. DEI is largely staffed by white women on progressive policies for them, by them, not the minorities or veterans it was founded for. Do you agree with that? It's mostly for white women? Put in place by white women?
No, that's who's benefited from it the most. It wasn't meant for them. It was meant to kind of sort of atone for the country's original sins and try to live up to that promise that all men were created equal.
Okay.
They put the biggest problem with that stuff that they put in was that they never quantified what is a success. You know what I'm saying? When they put in affirmative action or they put in DI, they never say, okay, when we get corporate leadership to the point where we got representative 10%, minorities, then we've achieved that goal. Or we've never said, like, if we get this many people in these types of positions, then there isn't. So now what Trump is trying to do is end it all without any metric to what is victory.
I get your point.
How do we get to where we were trying to go when we originally put these things in place?
Yeah.
And people have a drastic. They don't understand what DEI means. They just don't. They don't understand how it's implemented.
I had never heard of it before until Trump came along, really.
Right, but it's been a part of our lexicon in America for a long time. It's just these things where he brings them up, just like he brought up critical race theory, the 1618 project, 1618 or 1619, I don't want to get it wrong. But these types of things he's brought up that have always been around, but to say that they're, to say they're the cause of everything bad in society is wrong. And I want to give you one more anecdotal story before I go.
Okay.
All right. When I finally got to the point in civil service where I was in charge of a whole facility myself, and I was doing the hiring and firing. I had to sit down with one of the guys that worked for me, and we were just having a conversation. He was a painter. And I had a conversation with him. He had been around for 30 years. He had come there when he was a young guy. And he was telling me about how he got the job. He said he got the job because his cousin and his uncle were working on the post, on the base where he got this job.
All right.
At the same facility. And he said when he turned of age, they called him and told him to come on down. Come on down to the hospital. We're gonna hook you up.
Okay.
So he goes to the hospital, and they sit him down. And the supervisor, or the person that was in my position at that time, said, "Hey, do you want to be an electrician?" And he said, "Well, I don't have no experience at being an electrician." They said, "Don't worry, we'll teach you." And he said, "Well, you got something else, because I don't really know that much about electricity and all of this stuff." And then so they eventually ended up letting him become a painter. But what people don't understand is that throughout our society for decades and decades, that is how people have been getting their leg up in society.
Yeah. They were going to let him in no matter what.
They were going to let him. They didn't care if it was like, they didn't care what the job was. That was the homeboy network.
Yeah. And I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. That's why I asked the caller early in the program. I'm like, if you say hiring an LGBTQ or a black woman or a black man or a Hispanic or it's DEI, what do you call it when you hire an unqualified white man? I mean, because that has happened. We've hired unqualified white people. Tell me how many cops we know are unqualified and they go from department to department. What is it called when you hire one of them? So, I mean, it happens.
Right. So I get my job, and then I look at the article that tells me about the job and stuff, and I apply and I get in, and they ask me, they make me verify my college education, make me go get my transcripts and everything, they was crossing every T and dotting every I, and then when I get into the position and I see my counterparts that are in similar positions to me, and these are all guys, white guys, who they don't have no college education, they don't have none of the requisite requirements that I have. But I got to go through all of this stuff. And then people want to act like all of that stuff has just gone away and everything is equal, but it's not, because it's been recreated over decades and decades and generations. So these stuff doesn't need to go away. He might make it go away to a certain extent, but thankful to companies like Costco.
Yeah, but more it's starting to spread to more and more companies though. But you're right. I tend to agree with you. There's a reason why this stuff came to fruition, and getting rid of it is likely to go back to the reason why it came to fruition to begin with.
Exactly.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, moving on with the program.
Hey, one more thing, man.
Real quick.
Hey, why won't it won't let me renew my funds on here
because I believe TikTok is going away. A lot of content creators are saying you can't subscribe or anything. I do believe TikTok is going away. That's one reason why. I think somebody's. I read somewhere that Trump didn't want people tied to it or something. But remember, this bringing TikTok back is only supposed to be for like 90 days or something. I actually believe it's going to go away again.
Right, but why would they stop people? Why would they stop the money?
I wish I knew. I really wish I knew.
I thought it was just me. I was like, man, that shoe.
Yeah, I would, because I'm losing. Yeah, I'm losing subscribers because of it. So I wish I knew.
Oh wow! All right, man.
All right, appreciate it. All right, moving on. I did want to respond to a couple super chats. Public Enemy says Trump grift made in China. Let me. This one here, my Keep America Great hat does say made in China. But I bought all of my products off of his website. So, yeah, big dog. Appreciate the hat mustache. And Melissa, certainly I seen one earlier. Thank you. I can't download the Tim Toenet. What are you saying there, Patriot Watcher? Because we're on Instagram too, by the way. If you go to Instagram, we can bring you up there. I did want to go back and continue. It was something I wanted to. Oh, this is something I seen Will G Sisters. I haven't heard this, but I seen it online. This clip is a minute long. I want to see if this is what Will G just stated.
Somebody said it's Trump's trade war. This isn't my trade war. This is a trade war that should have taken place a long time ago by a lot of other presidents. Over the last 5 or 6 years, China's made $500 billion. $500 billion. Ripped it out of the United States. And not only that, if you take a look, intellectual property theft, add that to it, and add a lot of other things to it. So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on.
I was critical of my last guest, I think it was. Who's, I'm like, what makes, Trump never said he was appointed by God or nothing like that. And I saw Will G in the comments said that Trump said, I am the chosen one. I hadn't seen this before. I hadn't seen it before. Now, on its face, saying I am the chosen one ain't nothing special. But he looked at God. He looked up at the sky when he said it. Look at how he looks when he says it.
Add that to it, and add a lot of other things to it. So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to.
What the fuck was that? He looked like he was looking up. Wow. All right, let me go back to the box. I see somebody said not the first time he said that. Does he always look up to the sky when he said it? Wow, that is crazy. Continued on with the program. I didn't know he had did that before. That's crazy. I am the chosen one. So maybe he is trying to say something. Jeremy, good evening. Welcome to the program. God save me.
Hello.
So yeah, he does say that. It's Trump.
Hello, Tim. Finally.
Now, now you obviously voted for Trump. Do you believe he was sent by God?
I don't know if he was sent by God, but I definitely know his assassination was interference by the Lord. If God exists, I'm agnostic, so I don't really know if God exists. But if there is a God, I'm pretty sure that he had something to do with that.
You said his assassination was interference by the Lord. What do you mean?
As in, like, the reason why he's still alive. If God is real, then that's definitely something that I think he would do.
He would save Trump and not Abraham Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln was not nearly as good of a president as you think he was.
But Trump is?
I'd say he's better
than Abraham Lincoln.
You really need to do some research on Lincoln. He was not a good person.
Tell me what Trump has did that puts him above Abraham Lincoln.
It's more like what Lincoln has done. Lincoln, first off, he was one of the worst presidents we've ever had. And he was like an absolute. First off, he wasn't even really for the ending slavery. He actually had to be pushed into it by a different person known as Cassius Marcellus Clay, who was an actually badass politician. You should look him up, dude.
Well, let me say what I always say in regards to, because I have read that Abraham Lincoln was not necessarily eager to free African Americans. But what I say is this: if I'm in despair and you come save me, and you admit while you're doing it, I really don't even want to fucking do this, but I just have a few extra minutes on my hands, so I'll get you up out of here. I'm gonna give you credit for it. I don't care if you want to do it or not. Nobody before you did it, and after he died, it's pretty clear none of the future presidents were going to do it. So I got to give him credit for it.
Fair enough. But there's a lot of other things. It's like, I don't remember everything off the cuff, but there's a lot of bad things that Lincoln did that make him one of the most tyrannical presidents that ever existed, including suspending habeas corpus. That's one of the worst things that he's.
So let's take it from my eyes, from being a person of color. What has Trump done that would make me say, as a person of color, he's better than Abraham Lincoln?
Brought back merits to the United States. See, I hate when people
merits?
DEI merits. No. I hate when people pretend that DEI is a good thing, or that. I remember you had that conversation with that one dude earlier. What was his name? I kept going back and forth with him in the comments section. Boss something or another. DeBoss, Michael DeBoss.
I talked to a lot of people. I can't remember the name specifically.
It's okay. So, you were saying something that's highly inaccurate. DEI is necessary because because people didn't have an equal playing field because they're minorities. Here's two things that are going to debunk that right away. Number one, I'm sorry to say it, but a lot of it is IQ. and it has nothing to do with race. I'm sorry to say it, but IQ is mostly genetic, and a huge percentage of how people are going to be able to function in society has to do with IQ. People with higher IQs have just been proven and to just do better.
Wait a
And then
minute,
one thing
hold on. So if I send you to a school that has better teachers, better equipment, and all of that, you're going to tell me that none of that's relevant. It's already preordained by my IQ.
It is somewhat relevant, but it's not nearly as relevant as you think it is.
That's
A
crazy.
lot. The only other thing that I think, one thing that does affect the black community a lot. This is something that nobody wants to talk about. A lot of times, there's a lot of parents in the black community that aren't involved in their kids' lives. You want to know what happens?
What?
Good teachers go in there and they want to help these kids out, but their parents don't want to like punish their kid as they're paying any attention to their kids or getting involved in their kids' lives at all. So what happens? The good teachers get tired, they get annoyed, they get pissed. They either go to a school where the kids actually have parents that pay attention and to them, or they just quit. And guess what teachers are left over? The shitty teachers. I'm sorry to say it, but this equal playing field.
Let me tell you why.
It's just not true. It's not. DEI is not the solution to
Let
that.
me tell you why I disagree with what you're saying and why I don't believe that. It's because there was a time in America where black people had the nuclear family. That all of the things hold on. All of the stuff you're saying that is a detriment to the modern day black community, they were doing just the opposite, and they still weren't succeeding.
No, they were.
No,
They
they
were succeeding
weren't.
at much higher rates. They were doing a lot better than they are today. Now they might have had some setbacks because of actual racism that existed back then. That is not systematically around today. But
How do you know that?
What?
How do you know that it's not around today?
Oh, because we have all sorts of laws against it, and in the system, there's just no evidence that it's around today. There's just none, no evidence
There's
on a systematic level. Go ahead, give me an example.
Well, I do believe not only the teachers, but the funding in terms of equipment and books and things like that in schools of people of color are shitty compared to other schools.
I disagree, and here's why. The funding is there. You want to know where it's going? Teachers' unions. A lot of teachers. First off, no government or organization should be allowed to have unions. I don't care what anybody says. As no one in the government should be allowed to join a union that's working for the government. Private companies, fine. I don't care about that. But it's a lot of these teachers unions take away a lot of the money that would normally actually go to the teachers into a lot of the school supplies.
I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, right now, you said nobody in the federal government should be able to work in the union. When you got an employer like Trump, the last thing you want to do is get rid of your union.
No, you know what? I'm glad he's getting rid of a lot of these employees in the U.S. government. A lot of them are not even necessary. The government is extremely inefficient. Why do you think it is that the government had to make it illegal for people to use anything but USPS in order to deliver their mail? It's because they suck at doing it. They suck at everything they do. The U.S. government is the most inefficient and it's a pile of crap that has ever existed. All governments are like that. They have no competition. You have to pay them at the point of a gun because that's what taxes are, or you go to jail. Okay, and they have no incentive to do good.
I agree that there's plenty of waste in government, but if you go to the free market, I don't see it as being an improvement. Everybody thinks get rid of government, let the free market decide. The free market is corrupt just in a different manner.
There's small amounts of corruption.
Small?
In the free market. No, yes, there is. It's small.
You don't think what? Okay, perfect example. United Healthcare, the whole Luigi Maggione thing. That's a perfect example when you let the companies do whatever the hell they want with little to no government intervention. That's the free market. 30% denial on claims.
You want to know what company is really good at doing the opposite?
What?
And is actually one of the oldest healthcare companies to ever exist in the United States? Cigna.
Yeah, but what about United Way? United Healthcare. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
You can choose to not go with United. That's the thing. Here's the difference between
wait.
private.
How the hell? If you're working at a job, how do you get to choose not to? That might be all your employer provide.
Because you can pay for your own outside of what your employer provides. Now, I understand with the employer, they get big discounts because they can say we're going to have sign up everyone at our company here, so they're going to give them a big discount because they're going to get a lot of people on that plan all at once, right? That's usually how it works. But here's the thing. You can go to other companies. Here's what you can't do with the government. You can't go anywhere else. You have to pay them. You go to jail if you don't.
You feel confident.
No incentive.
You feel confident that you feel confident that if every American that's working and getting poor insurance from their employer has enough money to go to get insurance from somewhere else.
Not everyone, but you want to know what would make that a lot cheaper? If we were to get the government out of healthcare. There's way too much oversight by the government. Oh, you think I'm lying? You think I'm lying? Don't.
So you
did you know that is actually illegal? It is actually illegal to have more than a certain amount of hospitals within a certain area. So that decreases competition.
So you believe that if you get government out of healthcare, United Health would be better?
They'd be better, or they would die off like they deserve to. By the way, side comment: I hope Luigi gets the electric chair.
I hope not.
I'm tired of people simping for that piece of shit.
Hey, look, corruption.
I don't care about lethal injection. I want old Sparky back.
Well, listen, we like Luigi here. We like the guy. So,
I don't.
I get it. I get it. But I disagree with you. You and I disagree on the free market versus government. I think there's waste in government, but I would never trust everything to the free market. The free market operates on. Go ahead.
I do love that Brent in the comments is calling me privileged. Yeah, no, I'm not privileged at all. I'm living off of savings right now, okay? And in between jobs, trying to get my CDL, okay? I am far from privileged. Okay, I have never been privileged at all.
So this whole DEI we were talking about earlier. Now Trump is suggesting that the air crash was DEI related. What the hell is that?
I have not looked deep enough into that to comment on that.
Do you think he has?
I don't really know. The thing is, Trump is one of those people that that is like, I'd say about 80% what I like, 20% what I don't like. But I am always suspicious when people will say, like, always say something ridiculous, because you look into it a little bit farther and you're like, oh, there was a little bit more to it than we thought there was.
So,
hey, Ashlyn.
So you think, like, for instance, banning Black History Month and all of that stuff is a good thing?
I think it should just be integrated into the general history part instead of just. And I don't really, again, I didn't look too much into that banning part, but I do not think we should hold up any one race as more important than the other.
Here's the problem, though, Jeremy. You talking about the price of eggs and the economy and all this stuff. He's doing this stuff like on day one. All of the important things that are going on. And one of the first things you're doing is banning Black History Month.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to look more into that when I get the chance to. But again, I've always seen in that there's more to the story than meets the eye. Always, it always is like that. Every single time without fail. Now, let's talk about something that we both say is a good thing. One thing I think is universally good is that as we're getting rid of people who shouldn't be here. And people will say, like, oh, that's not fair to the illegal immigrants. But look at who's being targeted the most. It's gang members. It's people with
that ain't true.
Red notes.
I don't think what you're saying is true. When you start passing laws saying I can go into churches and go into schools and get immigrants, you ain't going in those schools getting a bunch of gang members and drug dealers out of there. You basically saying I want to get anybody in the country that's undocumented. If you're here illegally, you have no right to be here. We want to get you. Just say the truth. Why make it sound like you're all murderers?
No, hold on a minute. The people who are on the top level priority, they're not the only ones being deported, but they are absolutely the ones being put at the front of the line to be deported and to be hunted down. They are all like high-level criminals. Some of these people have been known to do multiple gang rape. Some of them have Interpol red notices,
and some of them have nothing at all. They don't went into some job sites and got people like out in New Jersey. They went into a job site, no warrant, and wouldn't even tell the employer who they were looking for. They just went in there and rounded up people. Wasn't no gang members or rapists coming out of there. They just went in there looking for people who were here illegally.
First off, we don't know that. Secondly, if you're here in the country illegally, you're already a criminal. I do not feel bad
But
for you.
then just say that. Just say if you're here in this country illegally, we're going to get you out of here. Why keep trying to make it sound like you're going after hardcore felons? You're not going after hardcore felons. You're going after
They
everybody.
are. But they are. Have you not seen all the arrests? Have you not seen? And there's like that one famous guy who says, "I'm not going back to Haiti. I ain't going back to Haiti." Come on, you don't.
I saw
remember
that guy. I did see that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you seen the plane, the whole, what was it, the C-130 or whatever that plane was, they flew back. You think most of them people on that plane were hardcore felons?
I'm pretty sure they would be, because I'm sure we're getting rid of those people first. They're not the only targets, and I don't think they should be the only targets. Here's something you're not going to want to hear. I think that it's okay if our agriculture prices temporarily go up a little bit, because we get rid of the slave wage labor that we keep saying is a good thing in this country. Come on, like, people who should not be getting paid lower than what Americans would accept because they're from foreign countries. I don't care if our grocery prices go up, because they're for a short period of time.
Wait a minute. He wasn't. That ain't what he was. That is not what he was elected for. He was elected to bring the prices down, not tell us you're gonna have to sacrifice.
But there's a process. It's gonna jump at first, and then it's gonna quickly go down.
How long is that process? How long is the process?
Give it 2 months.
So we're gonna get cheaper groceries in 2 months.
In 2 months, it's gonna be lower than it was before he got into office, and it's gonna keep dropping.
So in 2 months, we should see it. I'm gonna bring your ass up because I don't think
You know what? Let's make a bet. Let's make a bet right now.
2 months.
Let's make it 2 months. And if I'm wrong, I owe you 4 galaxies.
I like that bet.
You know what? Yeah, let's do it.
I don't believe that though. It ain't gonna. You gonna. I think TikTok gonna be gone in 2 months. That's what's gonna happen. I don't.
No, it's not gonna be gone. It's not gonna be gone. Okay.
You really think 2 months though you gonna pull that off, huh?
Oh yeah, and here's why. First off, of how much money you have in the bank is not as important as buying power. I think we've talked about this before. The buying power of the dollar is far more important. That's why prices. That's why you could go to the store back in the day with $5, and you could buy an entire week's worth of groceries with $5 alone. But then again, $5 was worth a lot more back in the day. Back, like, I'd say, like when my dad was a kid, it was probably worth what $50 is worth today. So as more Americans go back to work, because a lot of illegal immigrants are not taking up jobs that should be being worked by Americans. Yes, it should be.
Let me tell you why I think you're wrong. First of all, there is no major unemployment issue in America right now. If you want a job, you can get a job. Also, once you kick those immigrants out, the jobs that you're kicking them out that they used to do, nobody want that shit anyway. Nobody.
Yes, they do.
Picking fruit.
Stop it. Stop pretending like that's the case. Wait, food? Do you know how many chefs are out on their luck because they can't get a job? And also, by the way, I'm in the job market. I've actually worked in the job market. There are tons of people in Gen Z who are and millennials who are complaining that they apply for like 60 different jobs in one day and they don't get any.
So you telling me you're gonna have some Gen Z people like this my age picking fruit and climbing on fucking roofs and stuff like that? That ain't gonna happen. I wouldn't do it.
Oh, I would do it.
At my age.
Not at your age, but like a lot of Gen Z people.
Oh, you said Z. Wait a minute. I thought you said X. My fault. You said Gen Z.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. You said Gen Z. That's different. Okay, that's different.
I know. Like, it's a young man's game, okay? I understand that. There's like a certain level of like, hey, you got to be this age because we know your body just doesn't work the same at a certain age. I understand that, okay? But I'm saying, in Gen Z, okay, like Zorro's Gen, like the big Z, not X, and so they're gonna be the ones to do that kind of stuff. And
I don't think it's gonna happen, Jeremy. And
they're gonna have to up the wages.
And so that means that if they up the wages, then that means we're gonna be paying a lot more for the food in the grocery store.
At first. But the dollar value will increase and the buying power will increase so much it will offset it, and then groceries are going to get cheaper. Okay, groceries are going to continue to fall as taxes lower, as we get rid of a lot of waste in the government, as a lot of people. Did you know that a lot of our dollars that these illegal immigrants are making, they're not even going back into our own economy. A lot of it's being sent back to Mexico, Guatemala, Venezuela, all these places, okay? We're going to watch more of those dollars stay in the economy, go from person to person, get exchanged for goods and services, and capitalism will do what it always does. It raises everyone's wealth while lowering the prices of everything.
I think you're being incredibly optimistic, Jeremy. I really do.
I think, hey, you know what? I'm a former Catholic. I guess that still sticks around in me.
Right.
A little bit of optimism. You could use a little bit, Tim.
I'm trying. I got it. When you banning Black History Month, I ain't jumping up and down for joy.
Yeah, again, I'm going to look into that because I feel like there's probably a story that not enough people are talking about.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You and I don't agree on the whole banning of DEI and affirmative action either. I don't believe you get rid of that shit, everybody gonna be treated equal. I do believe that some of the echoes of the past are still there because some of the people that did it ain't even dead yet. So you gonna get rid of all the protections from it and just expect none of this stuff will come back. To me, the 1800s abortion laws they went back to shows that they'll go back to the past. You got Idaho right now trying to ban same-sex marriage. They're eager to go backwards. So I don't know why we would think they wouldn't go backwards in this area.
Well, you know that in a lot of these lefty states, a lot of people, a lot of these abortion restrictions are becoming even looser than they were before the federal protections.
Yeah, but in the right states, they're banning it outright.
I know. My point here is that it's not like the federal government is trying to put in draconian laws. It's the point. Again, we got to remember what kind of system we have. We have a federalist system. The states are the laboratories for what works and what doesn't. If people don't want to live in rinky-dink Idaho or Mormon Utah and with their ridiculous ideas, they can move.
And they got the money to do that.
Maybe they don't, Owens, but here's the thing. I don't think anyone needs an abortion that bad. Especially since the majority of abortions are elective.
You do realize some people were told that they could die if they don't have that happen?
Most abortions are elective.
But what about the ones that could die?
There's no state in the union currently that has laws that prevent you from getting an abortion if it threatens the life of the mother.
That is not true.
Which one?
Ohio. Louisiana had a case. Texas with Kate Cox, she was 31 years old. She's another case. There was a black woman in Louisiana that had a child that did not have a skull, and they were saying that if they tried to force her to carry that to term, the baby could die. But a woman could die, but because the baby had a heartbeat, they wanted her to carry it to term. The same thing with Kate Cox, the baby that had the fucked up chromosomes, and she had to leave the state of Texas. It is states that are doing that.
I'm going to have to look at these cases because there's always more to these cases than what we're hearing. There's always more to it.
The right don't want to tell you they doing that. You need to watch some left-wing TV.
I listen to Ground News. They're a good source. They're not really a source of news. They're more like a curator. But have you ever heard of them?
No.
Ground News basically. They're not really a news source themselves. They're more like a curator of news, but they show you all the different sources, both left wing and right wing, and they even have like Blind Spot, which is where I sound like an ad, but basically if one story is being covered more by one side than the other, they show that there's a bias, and so like maybe if a left
like Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they also show how the same story is being covered by different news outlets, so that way you can compare and contrast.
All right. Ground News. All right. I'm here to check that out. Jeremy, 4 Galaxies on the way. Thank you.
Absolutely. I can't wait for you to wear that mega hat.
All right. We'll see what happens. I got to go. Jeremy, thank you. Dude had a helicopter going for absolutely no reason at all. That's when Trump was saying, I'm the chosen one. I can't hate on Trump with the helicopter in the background because Trump does speak to the cameras a lot. I don't always agree with what he says, but I can't hate on the fact that the man will take questions a lot. I mean, the guy will get up there and say, okay, I'll take a couple questions. and will just stand there for an hour. You didn't get that from Biden. You didn't even get that from Obama. You didn't get it from George W. Bush. I would like some of the shit he says to have a different outcome, but I do like the fact that he talks to the cameras a lot. Trump talks to the cameras a lot. Almost every day. He's been president for 10 days. Almost every weekday, he has spoken to the cameras half hour at least. Now, I don't, like I said, I'm not liking everything he's doing, but that I like. That I like. And I will say it from this standpoint. He's only doing what he said he was going to do. It ain't like, I mean, look, I get some of the Greenland and Canada and Panama and all that shit is a surprise, but a lot of the stuff he's doing, even with the DEI, and as bad as I think it is to roll back Black History Month and fuck with all that, I think that, to me, that is borderline starting to look really racist and shit like that. But based on what he was saying, it shouldn't surprise people he was going to do it. I mean, he's been finagling with race for quite a while. So to me, the things he did that really are surprising, that would have possibly cost him the election, is cutting off all federal funding to every organization. Now, the only thing that prevented that from happening is they stopped him. And then once the court stopped him, then he came in and rescinded it. But he was trying to do that. And I believe that they're taking it to court to try to continue it or something. I don't know if he's going to totally rescind it, but he didn't run on doing no shit like that. But other than that, he's only doing what he said he was going to do. Unfortunately, he just talks and talks bullshit, says Carol. Yeah, but you do know, based on what he is saying, where he is likely headed in the future. If you ask him, are you going to do this or are you going to do that? He gives you an answer for the most part. Like when Biden was asked, are you going to pardon your son? And he told David Mirror of ABC, no, he wasn't. Trump would have said yes. I believe the system is weaponized. I don't believe my son is in good hands with the current administration. Yes, I will pardon him momentarily. Yeah, he would have told you. He wouldn't. I don't think Trump would have lied about that. I think he would have told you he's going to do it. So, and I seen the comments, what that says, Poble says, how do you know? I don't know, but I'm speculating. I do believe that Trump would have came out and told you he was going to pardon this. I mean, anytime the guy's telling you ahead of time he's going to pardon the January 6th folks who are on camera committing felonies, he would have pardoned his son. I feel confident he would have pardoned his son. He's pardoning a bunch of strangers that are caught on camera committing felonies. He'd have pardoned his son. Trump lies about his lies. Please stop. I didn't say he was always honest, but I'm telling you, he does kind of give you the direction in which he's heading. Gen Z even get off that damn Xbox. Okay. Racism, just like the days of old, says Will. Black people are just assumed to be dumb and single parent. You're talking about my last caller. He did indicate the IQ, the way, Jeremy, if you're watching still, the way you answered that IQ question, you did lead folks to believe that. You believe that. I mean, look, you didn't say this, so I'm going to speculate on it. But when you started talking about people's IQs, it did take me back to a time when some folks just believed that white people were inherently smarter than other groups. There was a time like that in America. Just like right now, you got Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, talking about black people need a different dose of vaccines than white people. I don't know why he would say that. I don't believe there's any current medical science that suggests that vaccines, especially, COVID and polio, I don't know what made him say that, but he did say that. And I see in the comments, NJT says it is. There is data that shows that. There's data that shows that black vaccine dosage for black people need to be different. I'd like to see where you got that from. I love the merits, Tim. Keep me shackled and grape my family, damn, and harm me, but give me all the merits. I can't get enough. Oh, Sean. Mama said there would be days like that. In other words, you can go around grabbing them by you know what and harming families and all this shit, but as long as you got merit, hey, we in different times, Sean. We are in a different day and age. I don't know what to say. Is he an unemployed economist? Referring to Jeremy, you're asking that question, Dennis Calhoun. I should have asked him that. I should have asked him that. The gaslight turned into a bomb. MAGA said only hard criminals when they really meant all criminals. And that's true. That's what I was telling my last caller. Look, if you want to say all individuals that are in this country with a status of undocumented or illegal, if you want to put it, they need to go home. They're all criminals. The crime is entering the country without having a legal right to be here. And just say that. All this rapist and murderer stuff is bullshit. And you're starting to hear that now. When his spokesperson, the young girl that speaks for Trump, she was asked that. Like, what percentage are criminals? Well, they're all criminals. They just come out and say that. You don't have to make all these accusations that everybody is here committing violent felonies. Just come out and say if you're here and you're undocumented, we're coming after you. And by the way, yes, they are starting with violent criminals. But once the violent criminals, the ones that are in jail are gone and all that shit, they're going for grandma. Birthright citizenship is a perfect example. There's not a whole lot of violent criminals that were born that way. You're taking away birthright citizenship. So clearly you want to go for more than just violent criminals. Just be honest about it. I mean, I think everybody can clearly see that. When you're starting to pass laws that say you can go into churches and schools, one of the things they said about Trump's borders czar said when they questioned him about allowing folks to go into schools, he said, well, you know how many MS-13 members are between the ages of 14 and 17? That ain't what you going in schools and pulling out. I mean, that's not what you going in schools and getting is a bunch of violent MS-13. Chances are, if they that bad, they don't go to school to begin with. They probably already dropped out. You're not going up in schools to grab a bunch of MS-13 members. You're going into schools because they don't have a legal right to be here. Anchor babies, dreamers, DACA, people that were brought here as a toddler by a mom that has no right to be here. The kid is only 2 or 3 years old. He don't know what mom is doing. He's just following mom. So both of them are here illegally. And you want to be able to go into school and snatch that kid out. That's what you're doing. MS-13. Come on. He said a bunch of MS-13 members are 14 to 17. If they're that violent, they done already dropped out of high school. You ain't going in schools to get these people making up shit. I expect him to be in the fields in 2 months, as Dennis Calhoun. That ain't gonna happen. You told my last caller. I do believe if they start deporting immigrants, they're going to find out we need to bring back over some more immigrants. If they deport them, they'll view it as a win, and they'll just simply say, look, we got out the bad hombres, and we're going to bring back more people to pick the crops, but now we can do it on our terms. We can run a background check. We can make sure they're safe, and it'll be viewed as a win. But you're not gonna get a whole bunch of regular Americans to do those jobs. That's not going to happen. They're going to get them out and come up with some kind of legitimate reason why we need to bring a few of them back in, and we'll just vet them and make sure that they're legal. Because we're not going to do those jobs. Love that shirt. We'll make you a proud boy yet. I'm wearing Gen X. I'm not, look, I don't think do the Proud Boys have black members? Are there black people in the Proud Boys? I know their colors. Is it yellow and blue? I know yellow was one of the Proud Boy colors. Yeah, I don't. Is it yellow and blue? Yellow and black? No, you're not going to make me a Proud Boy. Do they have Rachel E? They do have black Proud Boys? Do they? The leader of the Proud Boys is black. No, he's like I thought he was Hispanic. The guy who just got out of prison for January 6th, he had 18. Did he have 18 or 22 years? He's not black, is he? Black Cuban, yellow and black. And yes, we have black Proud Boys. So you guys do have black Proud Boys on Gen X. I didn't know that. Because I had another caller came on here before and said the Proud Boys have racist literature they pass out. So I don't know. I'm not affiliated. I can't say yes or no. I'm ignorant on the subject, but I did have somebody say that. And he was himself a former white supremacist. He was an admitted former white supremacist who said that, the literature used to come in his hands. Some of those without paperwork are waiting for a judge, but MAGA don't give a fuck. And that's true. I said that before, and I'll go to the box, tap the screen. We can certainly get up to about 80,000 if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Appreciate you folks rolling with your boy this Saturday evening. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 80,000. We can make that happen. Certainly tap that screen. I said before that when Trump was about to become president, I said that if you don't have a confirmation, you're not safe. Yeah, big dog. Appreciate the hat mustache. Thank you. If you're working on becoming a legal resident of this country or a legal citizenship, there's a process to it. You don't get it overnight. It takes years. We all know that. Well, my point was, if it has not been confirmed by the time Trump gets in the White House, you may never see the process come to conclusion. They may suddenly just turn it off. I said that before he became president. And when he became president, some folks claim he did exactly that. If you're not at home base, don't be surprised if he shuts off the process of what you're doing. I said that before he became president because it was pretty clear that he was after more than just hardened criminals. The hardened criminals is something we can all agree on. That's why he's saying hardened criminals. But grandma is good too. If grandma is sitting at home watching a bunch of grandkids while the daughter is at work and grandma has no legal documentation, she can get it too. Let me go back to the box. Continuing on with, I don't know what I'm clicking here, but we'll make it happen there. I want to say Big Meech or Mercenaries. I thought I said mercenary at first. Good evening. Welcome to the program. And when does it happen? It would make the process more easier because they don't get to cut in the line and disrupt the process for some other people. Let me tell you something. And I'll have to bring up another caller for that last one dropped. In regards to what Will Van is saying in the comments, he said, and when it does, it'll make the process more easier because they don't get to cut in the line and disrupt the process for some other people that are coming in. This is the whole point. Let me make something clear to you folks. There will always be people who jump the line. Period. There will always be. If you got enough money, you're not going to stand in line with everybody else. There will always be. The only difference is poor people jump the line illegally. Folks with money will be given legal ways to do the same damn thing. There are always going to be ways to jump the line. So you're not going to create a fair system at all. I mean, you can buy your way into the country too. So no, I mean, and I'm going to say that if you're from certain places, you marry to certain people, there's always going to be ways to jump the line. The private prisons will contract them out to farms and other places that need them. They can be held without being charged. That will bolster the numbers. Yeah, and you know something? I didn't think about that. The 30,000 that are going to be put in Guantanamo Bay, it is possible. Now, that hasn't been confirmed, but he's saying that the private prisons can contract them out to farms. So let's say a farm has lost a bunch of its workers since they started deporting everybody. Well, a prison might say, well, you can contract several of our prisoners. They'll come work for you for the day or whatever the case may be. You pay a certain amount to the government. This is exactly what happened right after slavery. Once African Americans were freed from slavery, they started passing laws that made it more likely they would be locked up. And then they allowed the private prisons to lease them back to the former slave owners. Like loitering was against the law. If you were a black man and you simply did not have a job, they could throw you back in jail. And then, of course, your former slave master could rent you from the jail. So you literally, it was literally a backdoor way to keep slavery going. That could possibly happen. That could possibly happen. Or you could have folks, if you're in Guantanamo Bay, and after they screen you to keep the farmers happy, may tell them you can lease this person, and maybe tell the I'll say inmate, not, well, I guess it would be an inmate, but the immigrant. If you go work for this farmer for 6 months or whatever, we'll put you on a path to residency. It'll still take years, but we'll restore your place in line. Now, they may be completely lying to that immigrant, but this would be an incentive for the immigrant to go back and work hard. They may be lying to him, though. It may not even be true. This is the find out period. Already? People said if you vote for Trump, you're going to fuck around and find out. Joe Shalom in the comments has said that we're already in that period now. Trump conned the fuck out of you guys. That's what he's saying. Wow. Are we already in that period now? It's only been 10 days. He's saying this is already the find out period of fuck around and find out. So what's going to happen for the remaining 3 years and 11 months? Shit, if we already there now, I'm starting to think MAGA only deals with people of color as a rite of passage and not genuinely because their political views and personalities doesn't add up. I'm sure there's some of that. I don't know if I won't say all of MAGA's like that, but I'm sure there's some of that. Let me go back to the box. What is victimhood? Oh, I see in the comments, David Knott says victimhood. You know, there are folks who say that people of color have always played victims. Even during slavery, they were playing victims. King Finn, good evening. Welcome to the program. King, yellow and blue. Oh, I saw that already. King Finn, good evening.
What up, though?
Rough day, man.
I just want to know, man. You know I'm about to burn you up, right? So you let your boy Jeremy get up on here, and that's the exact shit I be talking about. Again, I'm gonna keep making examples of you perpetuating that bullshit. You know damn well that shit he was saying was wrong. Dude, you seriously gonna listen to RFK Jr.? Hell no, I'm not listening to that crazy Kermit the Frog.
No, wait a minute. Bro. I was the one that said I don't believe that vaccines for black people should be. I don't believe that. I think he's wrong.
Okay, I'm about to say you said some shit. You said some other qualifying shit that you know.
Give me the shit I said that is bullshit. Give me some more.
Letting them say that bullshit. You know damn well. And this whole thing about letting the migrants work for fucking prisons, dude. So wait. Now we're gonna normalize slavery. There you go, Jeremy 5.6. They go a gig for you, overseer. The same shit, right? Same bullshit all over again. And y'all okay with letting this shit happen? No, it's not okay, bro.
Well, let me be clear. Let me be clear to you. I think the plausible deniability will be like this. Look, they were in the country illegally. Being in the country illegally come with consequences. They're in Guantanamo. They were given the option to go work for the farmers. They said yes. So they're going to say it's not slavery because they volunteered to do it.
So then my question to you is, beyond all that bullshit you just said, my question to you is, okay, so what makes us the moral fucking compass of the world? Because if we go back to doing that, normalize this bullshit, we cannot claim any morality at all. And I mean, honestly, we can't claim any morality with the fact that Trump is the damn president. Who is the moral compass of this country?
Well, but
I know damn well you're not finna say it's Trump.
Well, but you gotta.
I know you're not finna say.
No, I would never say that. Well, but here's the point, though. You say moral compass of the planet. Like if you entered other countries illegally, you can find yourself in prison. You can find yourself doing slave labor. You can't just walk into North Korea. So
you're right.
All right, so you walked into America and you got punished.
Tim.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this again, and you know what I'm gonna say, right?
Oh my God!
What does the statue on Ellis Island say?
Bring us your tired, your weary, your poor. They didn't mean that shit.
Okay, so Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we need to go ahead and send that statue back to France and stop fucking around. Okay? Stop playing. Let's stop playing like this is a melting pot. It's a capitalistic pot of dirty sewage water that this motherfucker in office has helped make dirty ass sewage water, and we keep trying to slap a moral fucking compass on the side of it and make it cook. It ain't working.
No, Trump's job. Wait.
The cake done failed.
No, Trump's job is to drain the swamp.
Shit. It's to drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm under the impression he's getting rid of the riffraff.
Woo. Yeah. Okay.
That's what he's saying.
Mega can keep believing that. Yeah. Anytime you got more people in your cabinet who don't have an idea what the hell they doing in their job prospect and just floating along like to be like, I can't go into a high school and become an AutoCAD teacher. You know why? Because I don't know shit about AutoCAD.
Yeah.
I can't go into a Chevy shop and be part of the body drop or part of the damn skill for journeyman and foreman of the shop. You know why? Because I don't know that shit. I can't go build a house on a foundation and charge you $300,000 for it. You know why? Because I don't know how to build no damn house.
What if you repeat Hexef? Could you do it then?
No, that was a horrible pick.
Right.
Not even just for the morality of the whole thing. The only reason Pete Hegseth got picked is because he was okay with getting more booty instead of cheating on his wife and getting more booty in office, just like Trump was. All of his picks are sick, despicable people.
Damn.
There's not a honest one among them.
Marco Rubio. What is wrong with Marco Rubio?
You know what's wrong with Marco Rubio? He helped perpetuate that bullshit like you be doing. You just
hating on right wingers.
I wish I could say that. But if you continue, it's just like I said earlier. When Charlie Brown, you know that Charlie Brown cartoon where Lucy is holding the ball and then she moved the ball before Charlie Brown kick it?
I don't know if I've seen
That's what's happening right now. That's what's happening now. Every Charlie Brown cartoon for football, Charlie Brown or Lucy is holding the ball. Charlie Brown go to kick it and Lucy move it and then he fall. That's what's happening with America right now. Every single time we do something, the Republicans say, oh, yeah, we're going to hold the ball for you. We got the ball for you. The Democrats and everybody else try to go kick it, and then the ball is moved. Just like your boy earlier said, in 2 months, the grocery prices are going to go down. How? Who's going to be doing that work? Who's going to be going to pick that lettuce? Who's going to pick them tomatoes?
He said Americans. He said Americans.
Them chickens.
He said
shit. Show me one. He got a job all day. I know he's going to have 15 jobs. Because I know there's reports of farmers out in, what was that? That was a report I seen just the other day on ABC and on Fox, actually, about farmers saying that they wasn't going to make it past a month.
Yeah,
because they didn't have the workforce to do it.
Yeah, I've seen it too. A lot of places.
I think people he should go sign up for them jobs.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared to show up. You know something, and I'll tell you this: the fact that a lot of people are scared to show up to work shows that it ain't just violent criminals. These are people who got jobs that are not going to work because they know that they're going into job sites.
That they're going to get snatched up by ICE. Yeah. I love when Republicans say shit like, oh, Obama deported so many more, and now it's the problem when Republicans do it. No, see, what we're failing to address is the fact that Obama did deport more than 800,000 people, 800,000 criminals. He actually took the time to look up, find, and figure out who the hell they was. Obama did take that time. Trump has just got ICE run out here in these fucking churches, in these buildings, and out to these job sites and snatching people up. It was a report the other day of 2 or 3 people getting snatched up into a damn ICE raid that was actually Americans. Had their paperwork in a whole nine, but spent damn near 6 to 8 hours in jail because they got snatched up in a fucking ICE raid. How does that help? That's not helping shit.
Yeah, and my guess is if you are ICE, because that's federal, and you wrongfully snatch up an American, Trump got your back.
Oh, of course he do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course he got your back. He got, just like the Jan 6 people. He got their back. He let them damn traitors out of jail. So, traitors should have spent the rest of their natural life in jail. I don't give a damn.
Damn. You really wait a minute. You really think what happened on January 6th, they should have spent the rest of their natural life in jail?
They should spend you are an insurrectionist. You are a traitor to this country. I don't care what you say. If you were there in that building, on those grounds, you are a traitor. Those stairs, when Black Lives Matter merely marched down the walkway heading towards the Capitol, they had the Capitol stairs all the way up to the damn doors filled with people out there with shields, bombs, guns, shotguns, the whole damn nine. MAGA and them Jan 6 dumbasses had the right and the balls, I would say the balls, to run up all the mall stairs and got that damn far. So if you step, after that first step you took onto the mall stairs, you's a damn traitor. You should spend the rest of your life in jail for fucking treason. Period, point blank. I don't care your age. I don't care what you was doing in life. I don't give a damn about none of that. Because you a damn traitor. Period, point blank.
All right, King, that's a bit harsh, but I gotta move it on.
No, it ain't.
Huh?
Peace. No, it ain't. It ain't harsh. It gets worse. Don't let me talk, because I'll cook it.
King, always a pleasure. All right, moving on to wow. For the rest of it, I don't know. I don't agree with that. Yeah, what? I'm trying to think who done. I mean, I've seen a bunch of crimes being committed by the January 6th protesters. I can't think of anything I've seen that would be worthy of a life sentence. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. No, I can't. I don't see that. Has anyone seen Jared Kushner? I think Trump and Elon is dominating the news so much. Has he ever read the Declaration of Independence? Well, he started out by talking about what's on the Statue of Liberty. You guys who watch me regularly, you guys know how I feel about those common phrases. And by the way, I'm asked that you guys tap the screen, get the likes up. If you favor this type of programming, give your boy a follow, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. We're on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and we're currently on YouTube, horizontal and vertical. So if you enjoy this type of dialogue, nobody's getting blocked, nobody's getting banned. Doesn't matter what your politics are. You can be critical of anyone in the comment section. Damn it, you just seen somebody being critical of me. By the way, he was left, obviously. So for you folks who believe I only bring up left folks and they're only favorable, Lisa, thank you for the graphic. Appreciate the support. There you go. Somebody who pretty much tore me a new one that leans left, that does not favor me entertaining statements from MAGA. So we get it on all sides. So, but if you like this type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Trump easing misconduct of sexual assault in schools. How? He's saying Trump is easing misconduct of sexual assault in schools. I'd like to know how. If you favor this type of propaganda, hit the like, says Draco. Okay. Well, I'm talking to the viewers. So if you come on the show and it's propaganda is coming from the people. It ain't just my opinion. You just seen what was on here. I mean, you've seen folks on the right and the left on the program. So I guess this is what the people think. I was about to, in regards to the bring us your tired, your weary, your poor on the side of the Statue of Liberty, or when somebody asked about the Declaration of Independence, I've brought up before that I think there are three slogans that America has that are just comfort slogans. You know, you lose a loved one and a friend at a funeral says, look, if you need something, if you need anything, call me. They're just telling you that because you're grieving. They don't actually expect you to call them and ask them for some shit. And I do believe America has three slogans like that. One being, bring us your tired, your weary, your poor. All men are created equal. And the other one is separation of church and state. They sound good, but we never meant it. Bring us your tired, your weary, your poor sounds good. Sounds like America's an open country. We want to be a melting pot. Come on, we'll look. No, every group of immigrants. I'm not talking about right now. I'm not talking about anything related to Trump. We've been hostile and unwelcoming to every group of immigrants that have ever come to this country. Italian, Polish, Irish, every group that has come here. Chinese. We didn't let Jewish in after the Holocaust. We have always been anti-immigrant. Always. Even though we've had a lot come here, we've been very, very put up a lot of resistance to immigrants. So bring us your territory, your poor is a great slogan, but we don't actually mean it. I don't think I have to really go too far into the Declaration of Independence saying all men are created equal. I think everybody knows when that document was written that that wasn't true. So we don't even, I don't even need to explain that shit to you. And then, of course, separation of church and state is another one. I mean, we've got Christianity and all sorts of things. It's even written on the money. So, three slogans that sound good, but we never meant them. Never meant them. Looking in the comments, a little too extreme, Tim, in my opinion. Damien, explain how you mean. What do you mean by that? I repeat, sir, you are so right. So, some people disagree, some agree, but yeah, I don't think we meant to. I mean, you really believe when they wrote in the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal, they meant that? Even if you were a white man that did not own property, you couldn't vote. It certainly wasn't that way. Even in the slightest, all men were not created equal for at least another 150 years plus. So yeah, that's crazy. We don't go for that around here. Okay, it is free. God said, "For those with eyes to see, let them see." For those, okay, I don't know where you're going with that, but let me go back to the box. Continuing on with Travelman, one of my subscribers. Good evening, Travelman. Welcome to the program. That slogan was only meant for Europeans. I don't even know if all of them. I don't even know if it was meant for all of them, Will, because we didn't treat the Irish very well when they came here. We certainly didn't treat them all as equal. So there goes that all men are created equal. And also the part about bring us your territory where you're poor. And if you're a European and you don't believe in God, I don't know if they're I don't know. I don't even know if it applies to all Europeans. Travelman, good evening.
Evening, man. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. So
what you guys going off about tonight?
President Trump, week 2 in review. Now, he's talked about DEI in regards to the plane crash. I'm just simply saying the good, the bad, and the ugly. He's done a lot in 10 days. How are you feeling on his outlook?
Trump is trying to break the government.
Good thing or
That's
bad
what
thing?
he's doing.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a bad thing. He's made the country more unsafe. Okay.
How?
Let's just go with the first agency, the FBI.
Yeah, he's gutting the FBI. Man, they taking a major hit.
The FBI is probably, out of the different federal law enforcement agencies, is probably the most conservative.
Wow.
From the top to the bottom, all through the middle ranks, it's probably the most conservative. So what he did was, basically, he took out the top layer of the FBI, right? So now you're talking about people that's probably been in the FBI 20 or 25 years, right? If not longer.
Okay.
So now you got institutional knowledge walking out the door. Number one. Number two, he doesn't have just cause. These are government people. You just can't walk in and fire them.
Are you certain of that?
You can't just walk in and fire them. You can't go in and say, well, you was working on the investigation of Trump, so we're gonna fire you. That's not just cause.
So what are you gonna do? Take it up with his courts?
Well, you remember Andy McCabe? He was the deputy director of the FBI, and he had 2 days left before he was scheduled to retire.
Okay.
And they fired him. 2 days.
Damn.
He won over $2 million.
And he was a Trump fire. Was this from his last administration?
He was FBI. Yeah. He was the deputy director.
Well, yeah, but he wanted $2 million because Biden was in office when he won it.
No, he wanted $2 million from the court.
Yeah, but
the court.
Who was the president at the time?
Doesn't matter. The president ain't got nothing to do with it. He sued the government. He didn't settle. He won.
I don't know if I agree with you that the president ain't got nothing to do with the courts. I think Trump can find a way to finagle the courts.
That's not what I said. I didn't say that. I say the president didn't have anything to do with it. He won. He went to court. He sued them, and he went to court.
I get what you're saying. Here's what I'm saying. I believe that if Trump had a won in 2020, he wouldn't have gotten that $2 million.
Why not?
I believe the courts would have ruled the other way.
Because Trump was president?
Yeah.
So you basically saying that all these judges are not going to rule against Trump?
Something like that. I do believe that there are judges out there that are pro-Trump.
Key word.
Huh?
You said the key word. There are some.
Yeah.
He's losing case. They already blocking stuff now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I don't think the guy would do that well. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, they fired the dude. He had 2 days.
Yeah.
He had 2 days, and they fired him over BS. Just like not only that, you know what the guy said? We're firing these FBI agents, the ones that's on the line, that's out there working, because the president doesn't trust that you can carry out his agenda.
Yeah. Hold on a second. In regards to what Will was saying about the bring us your turn, you said 170 million white people say different, huh? That immigration was meant for Europeans. Okay, I don't know.
You're right about that.
So you agree with him then?
Yeah.
That bring us your tariffs or we're your poor was meant for Europeans.
It was.
It wasn't meant for some Somalians, some brothers from Nigeria.
You got jokes.
Some of my folks from Egypt.
You got jokes tonight, you know. but see, they said they're firing the agents because, and some of these other people that they fired because we don't trust that you will carry out the president's agenda. Okay, the FBI and DOJ, they're not there to carry out the president's agenda. See, what we're looking at right now is sheer arrogance, and they're taking it, and they just bold with it.
Here's the point I make. Now you say, and I agree with you. The FBI and the DOJ is not there to carry out the president's agenda. That's why I believe that Trump is making sure that whoever heads the FBI and whoever is the head of the DOJ is going to carry out his agenda.
That's why all these people, the majority of them, if they are firing them, they're going to take them to court. They are going to take them to court. Now, my question is, these guys, these agents and these lawyers, they're working on cases, right?
Right.
So normally, when they rotate out, you train somebody, you turn your case over to somebody. They're firing these guys on the spot.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're walking away from these cases. They're working on drug cases and probably international drug cases. They probably working on some cyber stuff, and they're leaving this stuff, and some knucklehead gonna come in that don't have any background on the case, and they supposed to take that over. So now they got to get up to speed.
Yeah, there will be some permanent damage behind that. Now, what about what I said earlier to one of my other callers? I said I entertained the idea of sabotage. If you're getting wrongfully fired, you may try to do some sabotage with your employer. I mean, Trump right now it's got to be hard to be working for the federal government right now. The morale's got to be really low when you don't know who this guy's going to fire or for whatever reason. He's just coming through and firing people gangbusters. So is it possible there may be some folks who try to sabotage shit?
Well, anything is possible, but the thing about it is that, a lot of people that work in government, they're really dedicated. They took that oath, and they really believe in that. Yeah. I know. Well, actually, full disclosure, my ex-wife, she worked for the government for 36 years. Okay, I did 20 in the military, 15 as a contractor with customs. So we all take that oath. So it's possible. Somebody will do it.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, I'm retired and I drive Uber in DC.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I pick up a lot of government people.
You've seen my Uber videos, right?
Yeah.
It'd be crazy. Survive the military, all this shit. You go out here and get smoke driving for Uber. I mean, you said you don't have no problems, right?
27,000 rides. I've only put 2 people out.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's just dangerous. But go ahead, keep going.
So I knock on wood, right?
Yes.
Fine. The other day, I picked up a lady, and she works for the IRS. She said that everybody's on edge. The morale is in the toilet. They don't even have enough people to really do the audits because they trashed IRS for years. Their computer systems are archaic, so they don't have the most up-to-date stuff. They don't have enough people, and now they're worried about who's going to get fired.
Yeah.
I
said, the morale's got to be at an all-time low. I mean, there's no way I would want to work for this employer. I mean, he may fire you at any given time. I mean, I wouldn't trust that 7 months or 8 months severance package she's talking about. Like, this dude is just coming to cut people.
Well, they're basically, from what the people that I've been talking to and what I've been reading, that they basically telling these people, don't take that offer.
Yeah.
Because the government runs out of money, I think March 14, 15, March 30, or something like that.
So you take the offer and then they say they don't run out of money, they can't pay you.
But they go take you to September. Damn. Okay. So, but check this out though. Over the last 20 or 30 years, I think we talked about this the other night, they have been demonizing government workers, bureaucrats. They just talk about them. These are people that live next door to you. They go to the same school. Your kids go to school with you. They go to church, and they demonize them like they don't do anything.
Why is he doing it? I mean, just the everyday average federal employee ain't done nothing to Trump. Why is he?
But it's not just Trump. It's Republicans. They have been demonizing government workers for about 30 years. Ronald Reagan even said it. The most feared words are,
I'm from the government. Yeah, I'm from the government.
Okay, and they've been demonizing them ever since. So I think in the last 30 years, the federal workforce has grown like 1%, right? So you got 3 million people that work for the federal government.
Now, this may sound irrelevant, but I'm just curious, for shits and giggles, what percentage do you think of these folks are minorities?
16%.
So that's actually higher than, well, it could be all kinds of different types of minorities though.
But 16% of government workers are black.
So it's mostly white people then.
Of course.
And you think they're mostly conservative?
In the government?
Yeah.
On the law enforcement side, yes. When you get away from the law enforcement side, I think you'll still probably find a majority that are probably liberal on some and conservative on some issues.
So a lot of people essentially voted themselves out of a job.
They the FAFO.
That is real. That is the definition of FAFO.
And so right now we have 3 million. We have 3 million federal employees providing service to 340 million people. But you have people say, somebody was on here, I think, talking about the federal, that dude you had on there, whatever his name was, that I don't know where he came from, that the government can't do anything right, the government this, the government that. Who the hell built the freeway system? Oh. Who the hell came out, the research that came out with, so we have the internet? Oh. All this other stuff came from the government when all the technology that came off the space exploration with the Apollo. So they just like to beat up on them.
You are right. The right is often critical of the government.
All day long. But they have elected Trump. Dude has went way over the line. He went way over the line.
In what way?
And you got these people, well, because like I said before, they repeat, and most of the people that MAGA watch Fox News. Okay, well, they prosecuted Trump. Trump started running 2 years before the election because he knew the cases were coming.
Yeah. Yeah, in June.
That's why he started running.
Yeah, in June of 23. Yeah, everybody knew.
He knew, and when he did it, people were saying that's why he ran it. You know, and so they always constantly making excuses or trying to, well, he didn't mean this or he didn't mean that. He meant everything he said.
Well, travel men, they are
he
winning.
Told the lady down in Mexico, now see what's happening now is that you're gonna find these countries, they're not going to exactly back down from him right off the bat. Okay, he said we're gonna put 25% on Canada, we're gonna put 25% on Mexico, right?
Okay.
Everybody thought Trudeau they were gonna back down, but then Trudeau came back and said, okay, you gonna put tariffs on us? We're gonna put tariffs on what you got coming in here. Same thing with Mexico.
Well, Trump made it sound like we don't need the imports we get from Canada.
Trump, yeah, right. Let me tell you something. The largest bridge is in Detroit.
The Windsor.
Nothing comes across that bridge except tractor trailers. It's about 16 lanes.
Yeah.
And it goes 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah, you talking about going into Windsor, Canada?
Going in, yep.
Yeah.
You go down on Texas border. You got Laredo, got a truck bridge. El Paso has a truck bridge. Far has a truck bridge.
Yeah.
And I think McAllen has a truck bridge.
I've seen all of them. Yeah.
Exactly. And the only thing go back and forth on there is trucks.
Yeah.
So now we can hurt their economy. But if Canada hitting us from the top, Mexico hitting us from the bottom, they putting a squeeze on us.
And China too.
And China, we ain't even got into China.
Yeah.
And so they said the tariffs just on the cars alone would take the price of a car up make it $3,000.
What do you think now? In the comments, Bulls points out something. He says the Panama Canal runs the world, and Trump is taking that back. How do you think that's going to go down?
Jack shit back. He ain't taking that.
You think it's all talk?
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I saw something where they say, well, maybe we'll back off if you let the Navy ships and what else go through for free. Nobody else go through that for free. See, and then they throw this China stuff up there. You got two companies from Hong Kong, one on each end. They've been there for about 20 years. And you also got some other companies, U.S. companies, that's also been there for about 20 years. You know, so if we want to complain about China, especially going into Central America and South America, maybe we should pay attention to them instead of stopping the funding with China going down there putting more funds in.
I think Trump was a successful businessman from a hostile standpoint. It worked for him well in business, and he's going to try to use that in politics. And right now, it looked like it's working. I mean, I don't know if I want to say he's a negotiator. I'll say he's more of a bully, but some of this shit he's going to get done, man. I mean, he may get some of this stuff done.
He's a bully, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I heard somebody else talking about, running the U.S. needs to be run it like a business. Businesses are there to make a profit. The government is there to provide services and the military, protect the citizens, and provide an environment for business to succeed. That's what it's for there. It's not there to make a profit.
Well, he's been in there for 10 days. How do you think he's doing so far?
Shit, he reckon everything. He reckon. I mean, 25% tariffs. The last time he put tariffs on China, we ended up paying the farmers $36 billion. Nobody talks about that. They lost business that they still haven't got back because China went to the South American to other countries to get their wheat or whatever. They signed a sorry-ass trade deal that China only lived up to about 10 or 15% of what they were supposed to purchase.
Well, this is what we got for the next damn near 4 years.
That's what we got.
So
now what's gonna be left? Because the Super Bowl next week and the price of avocados getting ready to jump.
No more avocados from Mexico. I gotta move it on. No travel. Let's see. We gotta get a man a chance. We gotta get a man a chance.
Yeah, but no, he had a chance. He had 4 years,
and we voted him back in.
That's why I talked to a lady from Denmark today. She was like, and she's from the United States. She lived in Denmark for 20 years, and she deal with the college students when they come to Denmark or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes over to Europe and stuff. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at us.
But they might be laughing at us when we take Greenland. According to Trump, we're going to take Greenland.
According to Trump, we're going to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, but he blew the last. We had the first crisis he had was the helicopter with that. That's the first crisis. He blew it out his ass. Last time he had one crisis in 4 years, except crisis that he didn't generate himself. The only crisis he had in 4 years was COVID. And he blew that out his ass because he's not a leader. You can't deal with that kind of stuff.
I got to move it on, but there's millions of Americans that seem to disagree, man. We'll see.
That's because there's a lot of them saying, damn, I wish I hadn't voted for him.
That is certainly in the federal government. There's got to be plenty in the federal government.
Oh, yeah. We're in a more weakened state on the federal level as far as FBI, DOJ, civil rights. You know, we're spending one more thing. We're spending all this time and effort on transgender. It's 3 million in the whole country. It's 45 in Division I out of 500,000 athletes. And look how much time and effort is being put into it.
I could never understand it. I still don't understand it. I said I didn't understand it when he was doing it, when he was running on it. I could never understand it. It is too small of a population to be getting this much damn attention. I never can understand it. But Travelman, I got to move it on.
What they do.
Yeah, appreciate it. And like I said, I said that the whole time when he was running. Is like, is there that many folks that are concerned that their kid might be playing up against a transgender athlete? I mean, like, most of the people I know don't know a single person that's transgender. I never could understand why they were getting that much attention. Mary Tag says, poor Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner probably got some kind of kickback from the right by advertising he was voting for Republican and maybe bringing along a few LGBTQ voters to vote for Trump. Because there was a gays for Trump movement. I mean, there's some LGBTQ. You won't find them speaking out loud now, but there were some. Because now that he's rolling back gay marriage and everything, you won't see too many LGBTQ talking about they voting for Trump or they like Trump. MAGA is consistently punching themselves in the face, but their brains aren't strong enough to perceive the pain. Damn. They're going to just kill themselves out here. Just keep punching yourself in the face, but you can't feel it, so you keep doing it. Yikes. What does the Trail of Tears, Operation Wetback, and Manifest Destiny have in common? White European settlement. True. That is true. You know, I'm reading a book currently called Confronting the Presidents, one of Bill O'Reilly's killing series. I've read all of his killing books. I have them all. Bill O'Reilly says that Biden is the second worst president in U.S. history. And I'm reading his book and I'm thinking, like, I mean, because he's telling the truth to some degree he gives about 4 or 5 pages on each president. Each one. So there's, 40 some odd chapters or whatever on each president. And he's telling you shit about, like, what Will is talking about, the Trail of Tears. I'm like, why would you be saying that Biden is the second worst president? And you're admitting that this president, like stuff like Dred Scott and stuff like that, legalize the kidnapping of black men, or like he's mentioned in the Trail of Tears. You're admitting that these presidents are favoring this stuff. And somehow you came up with Biden? What the hell has Biden did to be the second worst president? I mean, I get the border complaints. I understand some folks did not favor the economy, but these folks were fighting to maintain slavery and oppression. And we got folks that started wars that killed innocent wars, like the War of 1812 is in there. Like, how the hell did you get Biden? What has Biden did I mean, you're talking about people that are responsible for thousands of people dying. Like I'm covering one of the guys, I think it's James Polk or one of those guys, like, literally fabricated a conflict with Mexico so that we could take California and Texas and all this. What the hell has Biden did to compare to that? I don't understand it. I'm not saying Biden was some successful president, but there's no way in hell he should be number 2 and come from the bottom. There's no way in hell he would be anywhere near number 2. TF has Biden. What the fuck has Biden done for the people? That's the problem. Well, Cedric Hamey, you're asking what the fuck did Biden do for the people? That's the problem. Let's say Biden did nothing for the people at all. He didn't promote and own other human beings. He did nothing that was that bad. The only way you could come out with Biden being the second worst president in history is to ignore a large portion of history. Just to completely ignore it. Completely ignore how some of those presidents treated other Americans, other Native Americans. Just completely ignore that and start talking about the economy of the border or some shit. I mean, there's some presidents that did some horrible, horrible shit. I would tell you, we talk about Biden's botched evacuation. 13 service personnel lost their lives. That Afghanistan evacuation. We hold them accountable for that. You're going to tell me that is worse than what George Bush did in Iraq? Even Trump referred to the Iraq war as the dumbest mistake in U.S. history. How could Biden be number 2? That's crazy. I mean, how many folks did Bush cause to lose their life with that unnecessary war? But Biden, he gets number 2? No, there's no way I could see that. And I'm not defending Biden, but damn, that makes no sense at all. Unless you just don't know history. Like, for instance, I get a lot of viewers on here who will tell you, swear up and down, that the Civil War had nothing to do with slavery. O'Reilly is about as far to the right as you can get. When you read how he's describing these presidents, about 4 or 5 of them leading up to the Civil War, it's pretty clear that that's the reason. I mean, they're all, you couldn't get elected unless you were on one or the other side of that issue. It's clear that's the only reason it kicked off. It's because we were deciding as we were continuing to expand westward and take in new states, whether it was going to be a slave state or not. And people were walking around with I mean, it's just insane, some of the shit you hear. Looking in the comments, though, before we continue on, what did that say there? I think that says me22. Thank you for the super chat. It says Happy Black History Month. It is February, right? It is. I kind of wonder, with Trump doing what he can to outlaw any acknowledgement of minority communities, if he may not strengthen resolve in some of these areas. I mean, you're kind of pushing Black History Month underground, I guess, is the goal. I don't know what he's doing there, but what are you gonna do? Fire somebody if they're at work talking about Black History Month? To me, it seemed like he would strengthen the resolve of that. Now, I get folks saying that that's not racist, but it definitely does not look like you're pro-Black when you do shit like that. You can say it ain't racist. It don't look like you're very friendly to these communities. Will says, didn't you hear Michael Knowles? He said all the things I mentioned was American, whether we like it or not. I mean, I'd have to be, it sounds familiar. I can't say for sure. Dick Cheney called for the Iraq War and said he was going into 5 other countries. Dick Cheney wasn't the president, though, Pam. George W. Bush gets credit for the Iraq War. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Dick Cheney calls for. If George W. Bush says no, it doesn't happen. That's it. Dick Cheney does not get to, he can go to Congress or whatever, but he's a VP. He's not in power. George W. Bush gets the responsibility for the Iraq War. Maybe he got the advice from Dick Cheney because of Halliburton and all the money Dick Cheney was making, but George W. Bush's signature's on there. He's the one on TV talking about they got weapons of mass destruction and all that shit. mission accomplished. Biden ain't done no shit that compares to that. Number two, no fucking way. No fucking way. Yeah, the buck stops with George. Yeah, the buck stops with George W. Bush. You don't get to blame that on the VP. The VP ain't known for legislation. We will celebrate that day, says user. Yeah, to me, banning Black History Month is only going to strengthen people's resolve. I think that's going to make people celebrate it stronger. You don't forget the financial meltdown. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. To me, Biden, there's a lot of things. I mean, you got folks that were around when the Great Depression took place and shit like that. America has seen far worse times than it did from 2020 to 2024. That wasn't the worst America has ever seen. That's mild compared to some other eras. I don't see how anybody can say Biden is the second worst in U.S. history. Maybe O'Reilly was pro-slavery. I don't know. Maybe he was pro-women's oppression, pro the oppression of Native Americans and still in their land. Maybe he favored that stuff. Jesus. Ruby Tuesday says the past 2 weeks is one of the worst we ever seen. I can't say it's the worst. I don't like the path Trump is taking, but until the results are really tangible, I don't want to say fear-mongering, but it's just your analysis. I mean, we're nervous about the tariffs. We're nervous about them firing everybody, but there's no guarantee that maybe all the pieces will fall where they may, and they may turn out to be a good thing. We don't know. The results are not tangible yet. The price of goods and services have not skyrocketed because of the tariffs. Deporting immigrants has not caused the food prices to shoot up yet. It looks likely that will happen when people are not showing up to work and shit like that. But the results of what he's doing is not tangible yet. It looks like they will be soon. But until they are, it's just fear-mongering. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate the 84,000 on the likes. As always, if you do favor this type of dialogue, open dialogue, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. I'd implore you to follow the program on TikTok, subscription on YouTube, if you will. God got our backs. We must move on together. No, God does not have your back. Not on earthly issues. God has your back as if this is what I was taught. At least my religion, maybe it's different from yours, but I was taught if you follow the teachings of God, he'll look out for you eternally. He ain't gonna do shit for you on earth. Somebody can walk up and blow your head off while you're holding your 2-year-old. He don't give a shit about what's going on earth. He'll look out for you eternally. He ain't got your back from Trump. He ain't gonna save you from Trump. So you can pray. I'm sure there's a whole lot of people that died in foxholes praying right until the enemy walked up and started unloading it to him. He ain't gonna do nothing for you on earth. He'll look out for you eternally. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Y'all take care. Have a good night. I just lost your respect for you, Tim. I lost, who's that? Ryan Coffey says, I just lost respect for you, Tim. This is the devil's kingdom until Jesus returns. Look, I can't win them all, man. This is a free speech program. Every single word that comes out of my mouth is somebody is losing respect for me. Somebody's gaining it. That's kind of how free speech works. I appreciate you guys that are tuned in. See you tomorrow. You guys take care. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm messing up.